did hurt his lower leg a week ago, and he's still a question mark.
South Dakota State won the coin toss, elected to receive, as Mangarelli fields it 4 yards deep. And after the touchback, Jacks will take over at their 25. And Tom, you hit it in the open, over 39 points per game coming in. And led by Taryn Christian, the junior signal caller. His mom played volleyball at SDSU, and he's just got this calm influence over his offense that puts up huge numbers.
Yeah, he really does. I was watching him warm up, Roy, and before the game, and he just was steady. Goddard is lining up, so he'll start the game. The big tight end, he's in for the Jacks.
On first down, crowd comes to life. They'll fake the handoff to Mangarelli down the field. Pass is caught at the 31. And spinning for positive yardage, brought down by Rashad Robinson, is Jacob Brown. And he'll gain 8 on the play.
Well, Jacob Brown's a young receiver out of Scottsdale, Arizona, Paradise Valley High School. And, he's been a playmaker for them all year long. He shows up in the big games. He had a big game against North Dakota State earlier this year.
Jackrabbits have won a school record 11 games this season. This is their first appearance ever in the semifinal round. Mangarelli on second and short, left side, first down and then some. Ahead to the 45, that'll move the chains, brought down by Brandon Herford after a gain of 12.
Well, Roy, South Dakota State's been so dynamic on offense early in the games. The last 2 playoff games, they have started off and scored on their first 4 drives in each game. Against Northern Iowa a couple weeks ago, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals to start the game. And last week, of course, in their dominating win over New Hampshire, they scored 4 touchdowns.
John Stiglmeyer, year number 21. We asked him yesterday, are you going to be nervous going into this one? He said, not a chance. Met at the line of scrimmage by Cornell Urquhart. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, and I asked Coach Stig before the game, I said, what do you tell your team as you run out of the tunnel? He said, this is what we play for. This is the kind of game that we play for. And, I think it's awfully impressive what he's done at South Dakota State. The beloved coach, and he's put together an awfully nice staff of coaches as well. And that's been, I think, really the main reason why their team plays so well.
On second down, floats it deep, looking for Winicky. Incomplete and a late flag. Covered by Jimmy Moreland. Will check the penalty, and Jake Winicky, one of the top receivers you may have never heard of. He's got NFL potential at 6'4", 215, Tom.
Pass interference, number 6 of the defense, spot foul, automatic first down.
Well, I know who has heard of him. Mel Kiper's heard of Jake Winicky. I'll tell you that, and he's on a lot of draft boards. That's a nice call by the referee. Winicky getting held, and there's another guy. He's a 3-time All-American out at wideout. Taking a look at Mike Houston, second-year coach at James Madison, has not lost a home game here at James Madison.
Defending national champions are the Dukes. Here's Winicky, first catch. Will go for about 3. Stopped by Moreland. It'll be 2nd and 7. I was curious to see how this officiating crew would call the game on the back end against a physical player like Winicky. If Moreland and Rashad Robinson, 2 of the best corners at the FCS level, aren't allowed to be physical, that's a huge advantage for number 19 in white.
Well, it is, and I think the referees will let them play a little bit too tonight. I mean, there's going to be some jostling. That's only part of the game. But right now, Dallas Goddard, the big tight end, out of the game.
They'll fake it to Mangarelli. Winicky wide open and off the carom, brings it into the 25. Talk about concentration. If that ball gets through, that's a touchdown. Moreland brought him down after a gain of 17.
Well, and all of a sudden he got caught on an island. Moreland did. He made a great play of batting the ball, but as you mentioned, Roy, Winicky makes a better play, staying with it, great concentration, taking it down to the ground.
Dukes own the 2nd longest winning streak in FCS history coming into tonight. 25 wins in a row, 16 in a row here at home. Christian with all kinds of time. Loops it deep, looking for Winicky, and it's out of bounds.
Well, This offense of the Jacks puts a lot of pressure on the defense of Bob Trott, the defensive coordinator for JMU, defending national champs, doing a great job trying to match up a little man-free coverage. But I like what the Jacks do, Roy. They run 11 personnel, meaning they have one running back, one tight end, 3 wideouts. And so they'll spread out this JMU defense, and I think that's what you have to do in order to try to get some big yards on the Dukes.
On the 7th play of the drive, Mingarelli straight ahead, nice hole, hit hard, ball came out. And now a scrum at the 20. James Madison football. And a costly mistake on the first drive of the game for South Dakota State.
Ruling on the field, fumbled by the offense, recovered by the defense.
Darius Carter, the Virginia transfer, number 47 in purple, was able to find a way to get that football, Tom.
Boy, and Mingarelli gets, he just takes a jarring hit. And the ball comes out. Oh, wow. That was just a huge hit. It looked like it came from, not sure who got the hit.
34th takeaway of the season for JMU. Brian Shore runs the offense, handoff to Marcus Marshall across the 25. And the Georgia Tech transfer picks up 3.5 on first down. Well, you talk about a vicious collision. Boy, Mingarelli's going to feel that one tomorrow. Numbers on Shore, he's a winner. He's set all kinds of records. The offensive side of the football. National champion a year ago, obviously. Punishing run across the 30. And that'll move the sticks. The first possession of the afternoon for James Madison. That's a gain of 7 for Marcus Marshall.
Boy, and I like the play call right there. Giving it to the man with a hot hand. Marcus Marshall, 128 yards a week ago. 2 touchdowns, averaged 9 yards a carry. And, you know, he's such a good runner. His shoulders are square to the line of scrimmage, and he has just great low center of gravity.
Short of the air. Stapleton's got it. And the hero from last week's win against Weber State will move the change yet again. That's a gain of 12.
Well, Weber State did not have an answer last week in trying to cover Riley Stapleton. And tell you what, if you're the defense this week of South Dakota State, Clint Brown, the defensive coordinator, he thought he might double cover Stapleton, but a lot of times he's going to be left one-on-one.
Hall's in motion. They'll flip it to him on the bubble screen. And Terrence Hall's into plus territory for the first time. Brought down at the 46, a gain of 7. Backus with the hard hit. Not even 5 minutes in, 2nd down and 3. Marshall, a patient run that time. Make it 3rd and a long 2. Kellen Solik with a stop.
Well, and Solik did a really nice job chasing the play that time and the ball carrier and tackling the ball carrier just short of the first down. 3rd and 1 now facing the Dukes.
He'll fake the jet sweep. Marshall brought down in the backfield. He's going to lose about half a yard by Logan Backus. And that's a big stop for the Jacks. Let's see what happens on 4th down.
Stop made by Backus.
Well, Backus just makes a great job from his backside linebacker position, Roy, on that. Again, he chased the play from the backside, made the tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and see him come off the edge unblocked. Nice play into the backfield, getting the hit on Marshall.
Lewis back deep to receive this Harry O'Kelly punt. O'Kelly standing at his own 41. And the wobbler will take a South Dakota State bounce. 9:04 remaining here in our first quarter. We are scoreless. Took us about 5 minutes to figure out who it was that made the hard hit against Brady Mingarelli. And it turns out, Tom Ramsey, it was Bryce McKinley, a sophomore linebacker out of Charlotte, North Carolina. laying the lumber on that early turnover.
More than lumber on that one. He brought the kitchen sink also, because he just jarred Mingarelli and forced that fumble. That was just a huge play by the JMU defense.
After the stop by the Jackrabbits, looking for Winicky, passes incomplete. Christian behind his intended receiver.
Well, I think, throughout this whole season, Roy, I mean, if you're going to beat the champ, you got to throw haymakers, right? You got to knock the champion off his pedestal, and JMU has been so good. They've been dominant on defense all year long. They're undefeated, and what better opportunity to come here and try to get a date with North Dakota State in the final, but you got to go through the #1 seed, and that's JMU.
Now the Bison last night so impressive in their victory against Sam Houston State. After trailing 3-0 early, it was all North Dakota State late. Winicky on the back shoulder toss. Incomplete. Jimmy Moreland in coverage.
We're going to see that often tonight. Jimmy Moreland matched up against Jake Winicky, and it's a great mano-a-mano battle. There's so many battles within the bigger battle, and I thought the ball came out nice too from Christian on time. Moreland just there to make a nice play.
Jackrabbits 49% on third down this year. That's 4th in the country. Christian with time, ball popped out, and it was kicked. Picked up by the Dukes inside the 5. Let's check the call on the field.
Ruling on the field. Fumble and recovered by the defense.
Tom, I'm not so sure that ball just didn't slip out of his grasp. Darius Carter may have gotten a fingertip on it.
Well, and Brandon Herford, yeah, sure enough, Roy, the ball just slipped out of his hands as he was bringing it back to throw, and then I believe the ball was spotted. Brandon Herford, the inside linebacker, number 49, picked it up, made a great play, just recognizing what had happened, and Ankra almost got the ball inside the 10-yard line, but now it's JMU knocking on the door.
Correct call on the field. And was not moving forward. Marshall straight ahead, and Marcus Marshall stacked up, driven backwards. D'Angelo Amos, check that, Nick Farina led the charge after the 2-yard stop. And we mentioned Marshall, the transfer from Georgia Tech. Tommy actually led Georgia Tech in rushing in his first 2 seasons in Atlanta. His father Warren played for the Dukes. He's actually the school's all-time leading rusher. Marshall again on 2nd and goal. Pick up about another yard. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 2. Solik with a hard collision. John Stiglmeier's club. 2 early turnovers by the Jackrabbits. Empty backfield for Brian Shore, the senior signal caller from Pennsylvania. Towards the end zone. Touchdown! Riley Stapleton continues his incredible work these last 2 weekends, and JMU strikes first.
Well, and why wouldn't you go to the hot hand of Riley Stapleton? But the guy who's really has had the hot hand has been the quarterback, Brian Shore. Threw for 359 yards a week ago. He finds big number 10, 6'5", going against Nick Farina. And yeah, that's just a nice throw, nice catch, touchdown, Dukes.
Riley Stapleton, 6'5", 218. He's battled injuries all season long, but the defense for the Dukes coming up big with 2 early turnovers. And James Madison finally cashes in. Riley Stapleton, touchdown number 4 this season for number 10.
CAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. Northwestern Mutual, we help you live life differently. And in part by Mazda, driving matters.
Graduation taking place earlier this morning here on the campus of James Madison University. And 4 football players receiving their degrees, although they did not walk, including Raven Green and Simeon Robinson, 2 defensive starters. Number 74 in purple, Robinson, wasn't even eligible to play when Mike Houston and his staff took over about 2 years ago. And he's come such a long ways in the last 24 months. And talking to the coaching staff this week, Tom, they took a lot of pride in Robinson's development, both as a student and as a player on the field.
Well, and as they should, right? I mean, really, when this staff came in, Roy, I think they really evaluated each player individually and really kind of didn't take anything for granted. And I think, you know, Robinson was one of those players. He, you know, struggled. They got him back going to class, and credit Mike Houston for, you know, really putting this program on the right track. And it's proven out because they're 25-0 in the last 25 games. They're doing a lot right.
Jackrabbits, in their 2 losses this season, saw the opposition score first both times. And Dallas Goedert grabs the pass, rumbles out of bounds around the 35. It's a gain of 11. Rashad Robinson ushered him out.
Boy, and I'm telling you, Dallas Goedert is a heavy load. He is one big guy, 6'5", 260. They love getting him the ball in space. And see right there, that's a nice tackle in the open field by Robinson, taking him down. I mean, he is one big cup of water there.
Mel Kiper calls him the best tight end prospect in the country. Did not practice all week long. We didn't know if he was going to even show up on the field. He actually catches a pass here in our first quarter. Isaac Wallace straight ahead. Across the 40, that's a gain of 4.
Well, I'd say one thing about the Jackrabbits, they're tough. And this guy right here is one of the toughest on the field. He's a leader, he's a captain. He was out there leading the stretching when I walked by him. He just had a nice block there. I had a nice cut block on a far side run. But, you know, look at his background, too. Basketball guy. And he was a goalie in soccer. How about that?
Can ride a unicycle as well on second down. Love that kind of athleticism for a guy that could be playing this last collegiate contest. Here comes pressure from the cornerback, and down goes Christian. Boy, Jimmy Moreland came off the edge, but Jordan Brown got there first.
Well, we knew Bob Trott was going to throw some different looks at Taryn Christian, the quarterback, and right there he brings an extra defender up inside. Moreland coming on the blitz. Great call defensively. Puts the Jacks in long yardage. There's a look at Bob Trott on the sideline. He has really been the architect of this stout JMU defense.
Bob Trott experienced the NFL at Arkansas and Clemson as well. After a loss of 6, Christian pressured again. And the junior floats it downfield. Dangerous toss. Picked off at the 25. The 3rd turnover in our first quarter by this JMU defense, and it's Jimmy Moreland. Six interceptions this season for number 6 in purple. The 26th interception of the season for this Dukes defense.
Well, a lot of people, Roy, will say, you know, on a long 3rd down play, it's not a terrible throw because you're getting so many yards. It's almost as good as a punt. You really kind of flip the field. I mean, 35 yards going the other way, but still, it's the 3rd turnover tonight.
And that means something in terms of momentum.
You betcha. We've seen it swing. We saw it swing back and forth a lot on JMU last week against Weber State.
Trey Sharp checks in for the first time. Will try to cut it out. And he cannot do it. Forward progress was a positive game, but he's going to lose a couple.
You know, Roy, and the game of football, it's all about sudden change, and it's how you respond to that sudden change. And, you know, in offense, if they make
second down,
if they get a turnover there on their side, they got to come back the next time. And, you know, Bob Trott said something great yesterday. He said, listen, if you want to get the defense off the field, make a play. Someone's got to make a play to get off the field.
It's not rocket science, it's football. They'll set up the screen for Sharp near side. Sent out hard at the 30. It'll be 3rd down upcoming. Nick Farina with a stop. That's a gain of 6. That's been an emotional season for Trey Sharp, the junior out of Carrboro, North Carolina. Lost his father to cancer back in September. Scored the game-tying 2-point play last week in the comeback win against Weber State. And he's still out there plugging away as the second leading rusher for the Dukes. On third down, here's Shore across the middle looking for Stapleton, and sailed that pass too high.
Pass intended for Stapleton.
So 3 turnovers in just over 10 minutes to start this game, and the Jacks only down by a touchdown. In a weird way, that's kind of a victory.
Well, and JMU had the short field on that 1 turnover, and that's why they got into the end zone so quickly, Roy. You know, in games like this, you really have to secure the ball. When the ball came out of Christian's hands, it was, I think it's cold weather. Ball just popped out of his hand. No one hit him. But a big play for that JMU defense.
Lewis will make a running fair catch. And the Jackrabbits will take over after a 46-yard punt. Start for James Madison here at home, protecting that 25-game winning streak. Dukes lead it by 7 on the strength of 3 early turnovers forced, couple of fumbles and a pick. McGinley laid the wood on that first collision, and then the ball just popped out of Taryn Christian's fingertips trying to throw the football in this cold weather. Interception moments ago. The Jackrabbits defense stood tall to get the football back to their very potent offense. Winneke on first down. Stays alive ahead the midfield. And the All-American receiver picks up 27.
Winneke is so darn good. And, you know, again, he gets isolated on the backside. And Taryn Christian pulls the ball out, spins it in nicely to Winneke, make a nice catch, breaks a tackle, and then he gets away from Moreland, and then Robinson has to come over and get him down finally. But Winneke, man, I'm telling you what, over 5,000 yards in reception yards over his career, 18-yard average.
Deep give, Isaac Wallace near side, sent out at the 40. Close to another South Dakota State first down. This team can beat you in so many different ways. It's Dallas Goddard, the tight end. Jake Winneke, the receiver. You see the numbers that Tom just gave you. Winneke as well is a standout off the field. This is a guy that gives back to the community in Brookings, South Dakota. And tell you what, he's done mission trips where he's gone down to Jamaica and overseas to Kenya, and giving back not only in the Dakotas but also overseas.
And Roy, when you pass Jerry Rice on a list, that's pretty impressive.
No doubt about that. Inside give to Wallace. Nice stutter step and a jump cut all the way down at the 28. That's a gain of 12. Brought down by Jordan Brown. And we mentioned this. Won the Scholar Athlete Award, celebrating the wife of Eddie Robinson. Member of FCA, is a football coach in the Brookings, South Dakota community. Now going with tempo. The pass sails out of bounds, looking for Jacob Brown. He's one of the most selfless players in all of college football. And listen, as a draft prospect, as a draftable commodity, you love to bring in a player that does all of these things off the field, because that's more value the next level of the National Football League.
Character matters, and we heard from Eric Idness, the offensive coordinator. He said, you know, as great of a football player as he is, he's a better person off the field.
And called him a servant. And we all tried to remember, have we ever heard a coach refer to one of his players as a servant? And I don't think any of us could come up with a single name. Here's Christian. Dangerous toss, incomplete. Across the middle, defended by Rashad Robinson. It'll bring up third down.
Well, you know, they're in a real crucial territory here, Roy. They want to get points. They don't want to squander the opportunity. You really can't take a loss here, but you got to get a good gain here on third down. To give yourself a shot at the first down, but if in case you have to bring out your field goal team, you want it to be at a little easier distance.
Jacks are 0 for 2 on third down tonight. Christian flush once again. Backside pressure. Down he goes. The ball popped out. Darius Carter, the Virginia transfer, got to him. And let's see how they roll that sequence.
The ruling on the play was a fumble and recovered by the defense.
I'm not so sure that he wasn't down. We'll take another look Kyrie Hawkins, Darius Carter applying all kinds of pressure.
Well, they were trying to run a tight end screen. I think he was down when the ball hit. His knee is down there, and the ball appears to slip out of his hand again. Maybe that's what the referee saw.
It's got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn a call on the field. And on the second sack of the night for
the previous
JMU.
Play of a fumble and recovery by the defense is under review.
Jim Laborde, our replay official, will have something to think about here. It's a bang-bang play for sure. To the naked eye, it appeared as if it was not a fumble, but on second glance, they may have gotten it right as we take another look.
And I think the ball slips out of his hands again. It's a great hustle play in the backside by Brandon Herford, and the ball appears to slip out of Taryn Christian's hands. And, you know, the referee's standing right there, and he's the one that makes the call. He's just out of the screen to the right there, but the ball absolutely comes out. The JMU bench erupts. Is his knee down right there? Very difficult to say, although, you know, Roy, you're right. It's a bang-bang play, and, you know, they'll even slow it down further than what we have in the replay booth. I'm just not sure if there's enough to overturn it.
And I think that's the call there. The call on the field would likely stand because that really is not enough substantial evidence to overturn that initial ruling.
Well, and you see, there's the ref and his vision right here. He gets a good look at it.
After review, the ruling on the play is confirmed.
Yeah.
First down, JMU.
Well, confirmed meaning that they saw the exact same thing that the official on the field saw. I'm good with that.
And many times, I think, you know, we've seen a lot of replays, and they're touch and go sometimes, but when the guy with the white hat makes the call, as he did just a moment ago, rarely do you see an overturn there. He had a great vantage point.
4 turnovers in this first quarter for South Dakota State. Terrence Alls on the jet sweep ahead of the 44. Make it the 46. That's a gain of 4. Now, we saw that action last week in the comeback win against Weber State. Alls was such a weapon on the jet sweep. He went for 117 yards. Technically, that counts as a pass. Shore off play action. Wide open, plus territory. Alls rumbling down inside the 35. Alls such a weapon, the 5th-year senior from Miami Gardens, Florida. Will pick up 12 more.
Well, again, Alls is such a dynamic player. Just a great route that time. Shore right on the money.
3rd straight play to Alls. This time, ball popped out. We're going to rule that incomplete.
Pass intended for Alls.
So trying to ride the hot hand there of number 7 in purple. Under 2 to play in our first quarter. Good start for the senior Brian Shore. He's 6 for his first 7, Tom.
Well, and I'll tell you, I thought he caught it, and I thought he made a football move to run. That's
a catch and a fumble.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. The play is under review.
Christian Rosaboom recovered it, the standout linebacker for the South Dakota State defense.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you could call it an incomplete. I mean, you go, what's a catch these days, right? Well, the catch is you catch, you have possession of the ball. Then he made a football move. Jordan Brown rips the ball out, and it's just a great play by the corner. Jordan Brown is arguably one of their 2 best players. He jars the ball out, it comes out, and then Christian Rosaboom, who arguably is their best defensive player, falls on the ball.
You're looking for possession, making a move common to the game. I think we saw both of those aspects if you're looking for a true catch. And then the ball was ripped out, as you indicated, by Brown with the Rosaboom recovery. In our estimation, this should be Jack's football. So a couple of enormous plays already to our veteran crew out of the Big Sky Conference tonight.
Boy, and Rosaboom is always around the football. Over 100 tackles on defense, 118 coming into tonight's game. Just plays with great tenacity.
John Stiegelmeier, Mike Houston waiting the word. Well, his first quarter with all the turnovers and a couple of big plays by both sides. It's had a lot of juice.
I like our multi-screen, to tell you the truth. I like seeing all the reactions.
Now the winner tonight will battle North Dakota State January 6th in Frisco, Texas. The FCS National Championship game. Bison convincing victory against Sam Houston State last night up in the Fargo Dome. And you better believe our friends in Fargo are watching this one tonight with great interest, as JMU eliminated North Dakota State last year in the FCS playoffs, and South Dakota State beat the Bison in the regular season this year.
After review, the ruling has been changed to a completed catch, fumble, and immediate recovery by the defense. The ball will be placed on the 39-yard line. First down for South Dakota State. Please reset the game clock to 1:58.
And the Jackrabbit offense had been on the field for about the last 60 seconds. They were anticipating the exact same call. So Taryn Christian takes over at his own 39. They'll fake the sweep to Johnson. Christian with time, looking deep for Winicky. Man-on-man coverage. Is it picked off again? It is. Jimmy Moreland, his second interception of this first quarter. 5 turnovers now for the Jacks.
Well, tremendous play by Moreland, because I'm watching Jake Winicky, and he's running just a straight line post, and the throw is right between the hash marks, right where it needs to be, and Winicky tries to bat the ball away at the last moment. He's not trying to catch the ball. He's trying to bat it away at the last moment, knowing that Moreland is high on his high shoulder, and Moreland just makes an absolute great interception. And Roy, what does that tell us? Bob Trott, what does he tell his DBs during the summer? Hey, listen, go catch a long ball. If you can catch a long ball running full speed, then you're doing good things.
Sure off play action, dumps it to Stapleton, and sent out at the 18-yard line. Trott gave us a great story last week. He said so many times his defense, the players will come in and talk to him in the middle of the summer. Yeah, we're working out. Yeah, we're getting the job done. And he said, well, what are you doing? He says, well, we're throwing it around. He says, no. I want you to line up about 40 yards away from each other and practice catching the football, because that's the kind of skill you need to work on to become an elite defensive back. Lo and behold, that's what they've done better than any other defense in America this year, as Terrence Halls is brought down by Chris Balster. That'll move the sticks.
You know, maybe Moreland felt left out. He only had 5 interceptions coming into tonight's game. Rashad Robinson, the other corner, 7 interceptions. Jordan Brown, the other All-American safety, 7 interceptions. So now he has 7 as well. Man, it's a lot.
6 turnovers between these two teams in the first 14 minutes tonight. Empty backfield for Brian Shore, operating quickly, feels the backside pressure, floats it deep and incomplete. Trying to spot Hyman. Backus got back there to the quarterback and had a little something to say to the senior Brian Shore. Well, ESPN's coverage of the FCS National Championship game is on January 6th inside a Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Game will start at noon. For more information, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. 47 seconds remaining in our first quarter. A wild start it has been. Shore again fires it deep, looking for Alls and out of bounds.
Well, Shore has been on the money so far. Right now, 8 of 11 tonight, 60 yards, and the touchdown to Riley Stapleton. But he has been accurate. Last week, of course, going for 359 yards. Just having a tremendous game. And Donnie Kirkpatrick, the offensive coordinator, you know, he says, listen, the guy's a winner. And his desire to win just, it supersedes everything else, and he gets everyone else around him to play well.
Four-man front for the Jackrabbits on 3rd and 10. Here comes the heat. Shore fires at a missile, and it is brought in at the 45. No, they'll rule that incomplete. Ball came out late. What looked to be a leaping grab, and Balster got in the mix as well, trying to pick it off, and Alls nearly brought in the catch of this first half.
Boy, Alls went up really high, and Balster did come. Boy, he came hard and fast, and Alls came down right on his back. The ball came out as he hit the ground, and I don't believe he secured that catch, and let's just hope he's okay.
Well, he's touched the football 4 times tonight. His leading receiver has been a weapon on that jet sweep that we talked about last week in the win against Weber State. JMU's battled all kinds of injuries this year. They've lost 10 starters for the season, especially in their offensive line. It's been a mash unit.
Well, and Roy, you said something a moment ago. You know, the winner of this game, last night, watching the North Dakota State game, Chris Cotter and Trevor Maddich. Trevor Maddich, the old teammate of the New England Patriots with me, and he said, you know, I don't know if so much if you win, because you get to take on North Dakota State. The winner of this game in North Dakota State last night, when the win over Sam Houston, they rushed for 471 yards, 642 yards total offense. Look out.
Line drive, punt fielded by Lewis. No fair catch, and he'll move 5 yards backwards. Outstanding special teams play by James Madison after the punt of 43, and a loss of 5 after the stop by Wesley McCormick. Well, as we try to catch our breath here between all the turnovers and big plays, if you're just tuning in, the Jackrabbits off to an incredible start this year, 11-2. That's a school record. 11 victories, one of the most dynamic offenses in the country. Pair of wins over UNI and New Hampshire so far in the FCS playoffs. You mentioned the offensive metrics through the roof. Inside give. Mingarelli brought down to the 29. You mentioned the offensive teams this year and some of the numbers they're putting up. And South Dakota State matches up very well potentially with the Bison.
Well, don't score too many if you're Sam Houston State, because that knocked them out. North Dakota State really ran them over last night, 55-13. And I do like what the Jacks do on offense. I like what they do on defense too. That man right there, Coach Stig, really getting it going for the Jacks, and they've had a tremendous year, Roy, and Mike Houston's had a great year too. So good that he was rewarded with a new 10-year contract for James Madison.
7-0 after the first quarter. The Dukes out in front here at home. For the championship continues. That's where we all want to be. January 6th, Frisco, Texas. North Dakota State awaits the winner of tonight's ball game. And talk about your ugly Christmas sweaters. He's got ornaments in the beard. Ornaments in the beard. How often do you see that, my friend?
You're not related to him, are you? Hey, you got a beard.
I got a beard. It's not quite that thick. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, start of our second quarter. And if you're just tuning in, we've got 2 of the top units in the country on display. JMU's got the best defense. South Dakota State has one of the best offenses. And we've already had 6 turnovers this evening.
Well, and Roy, the only points off turnovers were the 7 points that JMU got off those 5.
Second carry since the fumble by Mingarelli will result in a first down ahead to the 41. So Mingarelli picks up 15.
Yeah, the game has been a little messy on offense. South Dakota State, you know, Jimmy Moreland's played great defensively, though. I mean, if you're going to give away a first quarter game ball, he gets it.
How come he's not playing receiver for JMU? That's what I want to know. Guy's got glue on his hands. .35 yards on 5 carries for Brady Mingarelli. Christian in the pocket. Dangerous toss, incomplete, looking for Goddard. He's already caught 1 pass tonight, defended by Justin Bethea, the walk-on. He's been pressed into duty tonight due to the absence of Curtis Oliver.
Well, and Roy, that's a tall task right there. Bethea having to run with Dallas Goddard. The ball just behind Goddard a bit. He had to reach back. If the ball's thrown on time and out in front, I'll tell you what, the big fella's continuing to run. But Bethea having to play tonight due to the injury to Curtis Oliver, usually their nickel back. And I thought Oliver was having a tremendous year. He got hurt last week in the win against Weber State.
Mangarelli sandwiched between two defenders at the 45. Brandon Herford got there first after the 4-yard gain. After all the turnovers, all the big plays, and all the miscues by the Jacks, still only trailed by a touchdown on the road against a team that's won 25 games in a row.
And I think this is the key factor. Third down, the Jacks are 0 for 3. They just haven't had success so far on third down, and it's exactly what Bob Trott wanted to do, put him in long yardage third down situations, and they have faced a few tonight.
The fastest running back for the Jacks in the backfield, that's Isaac Wallace. And here comes the quarterback keeper and all kinds of real estate. There goes Christian, ushered out at the 29-yard line. That'll move the chains after a gain of 25.
Well, Taryn Christensen, he only played 3 games into his senior high school year, hurt his knee, and he was also a track athlete, so he's about a 10-700-meter guy. He's not a guy to take your eyes off of if you're this Dukes defense. And right there, little quarterback draw, taking advantage of man coverage, and he races ahead for the first down. Nice call.
Crowd comes to life again after the longest play of the night for South Dakota State. Wallace, a pretty spin move, a nifty move as well near the 15. He'll pick up 13. Jordan Brown, the stop, that'll move the chains yet again.
Well, what makes a great run is great vision, and Isaac Wallace just sees the play develop in front of him, and then he makes a great cut and spin move, as you mentioned there, Roy. And boy, credit Jordan Brown, the All-American, coming up, making a nice tackle, finally getting him down.
Jacks have been electric in the red zone this year. 7th play of the drive. Wallace. Bumped down inside the 10. Raven Green got there. It's a pickup of 7. Jacks able to run the football so far tonight, and Christian's kind of struggled a bit in the downfield passing game. See if they keep it on the ground here.
And I think the Jacks are going to have to continue to pound the ball tonight. They have wide line splits, and it allows them to get some pin and pull, meaning they're going to end up blocking down on a guy on the line of scrimmage, bring a guard around, and that running back will just follow that big lineman up the field.
Kane Lusher, the fullback, standing at the 12. Off play action, touchdown to Winneke. And the Jacks an extra point away from tying this one up, and Jake Winneke was wide open. His 59th touchdown at South Dakota State. That's number 1 all time.
Yeah, to go along with his 281 receptions coming in, just phenomenal. But right there, credit the play action of Taryn Christian. Really rides the running back. It fools everyone on defense. And then Winneke, the sure target in the end zone.
Chase Vinatieri's extra point is up. It is good. And the nephew of the great Adam Vinatieri ties us up at 7 points apiece.
There's a look at Christian just firing the bullet inside to Winneke. Put him on the board, 7-7.
Tied at 7. Early stages of our second quarter with Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Taryn Christian. Touchdown pass number 34 this season. Moments ago to the great Jake Winneke. Some nice play action, and Winneke, you can't give him that kind of real estate.
Well, he had great leverage. It's a great route that he ran on Jimmy Moreland, and he really kind of pushed him outside a little bit and then broke to the post. Boy, look at that. You know, when you're passing guys, you're right along Cooper Kupp, who's now a receiver for Goff at the LA Rams. Cooper Kupp playing awfully good this year, too.
Kickoff drilled through the end zone. Dukes will take over from their own 25. Make sure you kick off your NFL Sunday with the countdown crew starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. Over on ESPN, they'll be live from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Get you ready to go for the biggest game of the season. Pats and Steelers. We'll have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, and more. And don't forget Week 15, Monday Night Football. Matchup on ESPN's a huge NFC match between Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and the 8-5 Falcons. Jameis Winston and the Bucs. Monday Night Countdown kicks off our coverage starting at 6 Eastern from Raymond James Stadium. Another important couple of days for the National Football League. Aren't they all?
Yeah, small game at Heinz Field.
Yeah. I know you'll be dialed into that one. False start will back up JMU 5 yards.
False start, offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Walk-on Zaire Bethea.
And Roy, the most remarkable thing about the Patriots last week, 0 for 11 on third down. 0 for 11 against the Dolphins. Dolphins played well defensively, but guess who's back? Gronk.
Woods in motion on 1st and 15. Marshall straight ahead, a punishing run across the 30. He'll pick up 11, brought down by Farina.
That's just good hard running right there. Marcus Marshall just expanding on his good running from a week ago, delivering a nice punch as he gets through the line, and that's good football right there by James Madison.
One of a handful of transfers for both of these teams from the FBS ranks. Play action again. Pass is caught by David Eldridge. Up to the 42. Jordan Brown in coverage. Couldn't get there quick enough. It's a gain of 15.
Just a great example of RPO, run pass option football there. Quarterback fakes into the line of scrimmage, pulls it out, and just has a receiver about 10 yards away and just dials it in.
Here comes tempo for Marcus Marshall, the Georgia Tech transfer. Scoots ahead to the 49. Led the Yellow Jackets in rushing his first 2 seasons in Atlanta, and just really didn't feel the triple option was a great fit for him. So he came to where his father played, Warren Marshall, all-time leading rusher in JMU history.
Yeah, Father Warren also in the JMU Hall of Fame. High marks.
Woods on the jet sweep. There goes Taylor Woods. Keeps the play alive, pushing his way towards the 30. The gang of tackles will bring him down to the 31 after a gain of 21. A nice block by Jonathan Kloosterman in the process. Massive tight end, Tom, that we were convinced was going to play tonight.
And Taylor Woods on the season, 256 yards.
On the Jackrabbits, 31-yard line.
And a couple of touchdowns. I mean, that's a nice play by James Madison.
So Terrence Alls was apparently injured, needed help getting off the field in the first quarter. Woods has taken a spot on that jet sweep as Rosaboom
Made by Rosaboom.
stops the runner after a short gain, and there's Alls on the bench. And that's a massive loss if he's not able to come back in, Tom.
Yeah, it really is. It's a lot of production, and looks like he was looking around for his helmet, but he was holding on to one, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
We'll set up the tunnel screen to the other side of the field. And a short gain by Ezra Archie.
Pass complete to Archie.
Will make it 3rd down.
Stop made by Rosaboom.
First catch for Archie in these FCS playoffs. Duke's just 1 for 4 on 3rd down.
3rd down, 7.
Shore surveying, caught. First down, James Madison inside the 20, and a nice grab by David Eldridge will move the chains. He'll gain 11.
Yeah, Eldridge on the inside just runs kind of a crosser in the middle of the field, and a nice patience that time by Shore.
Riley Stapleton, number 10 in purple, the top of the screen. Diamond formation for JMU. Shore on the option, a late pitch. Trey Sharp sent out near the 15.
Good defense that time by South Dakota State, electing to let the sideline make the tackle. They end up running option into the short side, which is kind of an interesting call, especially when you have Riley Stapleton one-on-one to the far side. Stapleton up top.
2nd down, 8.
Keep an eye on number 10.
And it was back shoulder toss all night long against Weber State last Friday night. Shore looking for Alls, who just checked back in, and it's incomplete.
Well, they just isolate Alls from the 3 receiver side, so he's the 1 receiver down into the boundary, and looks like he just tried to run a comeback there. Donnie Kirkpatrick into his 3rd down call sheet, and now it's into the red zone, so you're not going to necessarily send guys, you know, blasting downfield. You got to really run a crosser here, Roy, against man coverage.
Dukes need 8. Shore. End zone. Touchdown. Riley Stapleton, his 2nd touchdown reception of the game. It was a late signal, but it counts nonetheless, and Shore stood tall in the pocket when the pressure was right in his grill.
Just, again, a great job of Shore standing in the pocket. Then he finds big Riley Stapleton coming across the middle. Just, again, great hands, strong hands by Stapleton.
This guy's the next big star at JMU.
Substitution infraction on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. 1 untimed down.
Oh, and it was interesting about Stapleton. Last week, a career best 8 catches, 189 yards, a huge touchdown catch, as you mentioned, Roy, on a 40-yarder from Shore last week. But, you know, we talked to the coaches and thought, hey, you know, was this guy what, you know, had you expected this? And they said, hey, the guy worked so hard in the summer and the spring, we knew he was going to have a great year.
And after coming back from a high ankle sprain to start his sophomore season and a broken hand later in his campaign, Riley Stapleton is on fire. 12 catches in his last 2 ball games to go along with 3 touchdowns, and JMU back in front.
The NCAA FCS Football Championship, brought to you by Aleve Direct Therapy. Get drug-free, deep-penetrating lower back pain relief. And Sam Adams, fill your glass. Savor the flavor responsibly.
Now the big story so far tonight, Riley Stapleton has caught 2 more touchdown passes after a career high 8 receptions for 189 yards a week ago in the comeback win against Weber State. Another score as well that helped tie the game late after trailing by 8 with just 3 minutes to go. And Stapleton, Tom, at 6'5", 218, he's a redshirt sophomore. His best football is still well in front of him.
Well, you know, Roy, what makes the relationship special, he spent a lot of time practicing with Brian Shore in the off season, and Riley Stapleton's put a lot of work into his craft, and you can tell when players put in that extra time and effort, it pays off on the field between the lines always. But Shore is very comfortable going to the big man, and you see what he did last week against Weber State, a career best, 8 catches, 189 yards, a touchdown, and you know, tonight 4 catches already and 2 scores. I think the other part of his game is the hard work he does in blocking for the offense. I mean, he's setting up big runs by Marcus Marshall and others all night long.
Cade Johnson will kneel it down 4 yards deep. Now let's see what kind of response the Jags have, trailing by a touchdown after turning it over 5 times in our first quarter. It's been an amazing start, really. The game is where it is, considering there have been 6 turnovers combined. Not even halfway through the second quarter.
Well, we talked about what South Dakota State did at the top, which is to come into the game averaging 39 points a game. I do expect them to score more tonight. You also want to target the big tight end, Dallas Goddard, who only has 2 targets so far, 1 catch, 12 yards, Roy, and you know, he came in with that injured leg, and you know, is it bothering him enough to have an impact?
Wallace on the jump cut across the 30. Rashad Robinson brought him down after a gain of 7. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott here in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Second FCS National Semifinal contest. North Dakota State awaits the winner of this one. And the national title game will be played down in Frisco, Texas on January 6th.
Boy, and they're going to get a team that's awfully hot. Bruce Anderson, the running back for the Bison, only 5 touchdowns last night, and boy, they rolled it up on the ground. 471 yards up in the Fargo Dome.
54 yards tonight for Isaac Wallace. He'll add to that total as Wallace pushes ahead across the 35. That'll move the chains.
Well, think about this, Roy. The only team to put a blemish on North Dakota State's record this year, their 13-1 mark, South Dakota State.
And the Bison eliminated last year by JMU. So as we mentioned earlier, Fargo, North Dakota tuned into this one tonight to see who the Bison will face off against in about 3 weeks. Christian with time, has a man open. That's Winicky, and it's batted away at the last minute. Justin Bethea getting in there and checking. It was Jordan Brown. The strong safety leads the country in interceptions this year. Second team all conference.
Well, he's tied with 2 other teammates with 7 interceptions, but that was great vision by Jordan Brown, really running stride for stride. The windows are really tight tonight. The JMU defensive players, take a look at all the All-Americans playing tonight. Dallas Goddard leads the way, Christian Rosaboom, and of course Aaron Stinney.
Mangarelli on 2nd and long. Will pick up a first down.
Mangarelli got blasted by Rashad Robinson. He's coming out. Robinson stays in. And
Sorgi doing a nice job blocking the All-American center for South Dakota State, Tom.
Yeah, they do a great job up front. I like the wide line splits that South Dakota State uses. I think it puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Wallace sandwiched. Gain a yard, brought down initial contact by Andrew Enkra.
And you may ask, why does a wide line split impact the defense? Well, you have to widen all your splits. The defense has to cover a little more field, and it really gives the offensive line better blocking angles. So if you're kind of a down blocking down and then pulling a guard around, you want a little more space between the linemen you're blocking. It just cleans up the picture for the running backs.
From the 49, Christian makes one cut, can't make another. Rashad Robinson, the cornerback, one of those players that leads the country in interceptions. Great form tackle there.
Well, watch the guard. He ends up pulling around and getting a nice block. And again, they block down, and they pull the guard around. And Taryn Christian just couldn't find the hole that time. That's just good defensive play of just stuffing a run. Again, another long 3rd down situation for the Jacks.
Christian's gone nearly 14 minutes of game time since his last completion. And he needs one here. Shovel pass. Goddard makes a move, makes a cut, reaches ahead. That's a first down. And the injured tight end putting the team on his back in that sequence.
What a play. What a play by Dallas Goddard. I mean, this is as good as it gets, folks. And he catches the little shuttle play, hurdles a guy, and then gets the ball, leans it ahead enough. Again, great action. They pull the guard, jumps over a defender, and not just any defender. That's an All-American safety he's jumping over. Jordan Brown, and Dallas Goddard, the 2-time All-American, doing his part for the Jacks.
#1 tight end prospect in the country, according to R. Mel Kiper. Wallace dives down to the 38. Simeon Robinson the hit. That's a gain of 3.
Stop made by Simeon Robinson.
This game has seen a little bit of everything. Turnovers, big plays, touchdown passes, long drives. All for the right to play in Frisco in the national championship game.
Well, and I like what Coach Stiglmeyer said about Isaac Wallace. He said he's a fast one-cut guy, and that's the kind of guy you need in the lineup to hit holes that aren't going to stay open real long tonight.
Christian across the middle, too high for Goddard. And Tom, how about some credit to this crowd as well? Some 16,000 strong tonight. JMU completing exams, had graduation earlier today, and a lot of the students have stuck around for this survive and advance elimination contest.
Why wouldn't you stick around for this, especially after last week, a last-second victory pulled out with a long field goal by the kicker Ethan Ratke, and FCS semifinals to determine the finals, and of course JMU being the defending champion at the FCS level.
6 in the box for the Dukes. Christian straight ahead on 3rd down. Pops it out. Christian sent out of bounds about 4 yards short. Jordan Brown got there. It'll be 4th down upcoming.
Well, and I would expect them to go for it here, Roy. Sometimes there's no hesitation with the Jacks in terms of what they're going to do offensively. They'll like to go for it on 4th down. 67% on the year, 11-19.
Chase Vinatieri, one of the best kickers in the country, will stay on the bench. Line to gain is a 31. Christian across the middle, Goddard, and broken up. A late flag, make it 2. Raven Green got there a hair too early.
That's intended for Goddard, flag on the play.
Pass interference, number 5 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Well, and it is, the referee said number 15, it is number 5, Raven Green, who's matched up one-on-one with Dallas Goddard. And, you know, right there, Roy, it's just the size of Dallas Goddard. It's like Gronkowski. You can't run through a player that's 260 pounds. You have to stay off him, but how far do you stay off him? When you're undersized, you got to maul him.
Pressure off the edge, inside give to Wallace. Well, there could be an offsides penalty called there, but no flag. Brown the stop. I love the comparison with Gronkowski because that big body target that can move is so difficult to defend.
Well, it's a matchup nightmare is what it is, because if you try to put a linebacker on him, he runs faster than most linebackers, and then you put a smaller defensive back on him and he just outsizes him more than anything.
John Stiegelmeier told us this week Dallas Goddard had to fake it during practice, not to show how down he was because he couldn't make it on the practice field due to that lower leg injury. Christian Lasso will lose a yard. Kyrie Hawkins is able to bring him down to the cold turf here in Harrisonburg.
Well, and one thing I'm sure that Eric Idness, the offensive coordinator, told Taryn Christian was, hey, listen, don't try and do too much and secure the ball. We're going to have our chances tonight. And threw a couple interceptions, had 2 fumbles just kind of pop out of his hand tonight. And here's the pay dirt area, right? Red zone, they have been very good, as you mentioned earlier, Roy, in the red zone. One of the best in the country.
Christian, conservative play call, tripped up. He'll gain a yard on 3rd and 11, and Kyrie Hawkins, his next big play on this possession for the Dukes defense.
Well, Hawkins again making a great play. He had 13 tackles last week against Weber State, and he's having another spectacular night. And, you know, credit the defensive linemen of JMU. They're doing the dirty work because they're freeing the linebackers up to make plays.
Our first look tonight at Chase Vinatieri, nephew of the great Adam Vinatieri, current kicker and future Hall of Famer for the Indianapolis Colts. Adam also went to South Dakota State, ward number 4.
Timeout
Chase
on the
has
field,
been
South Dakota State. Their first charge, 30-second timeout.
nothing short of sensational this season, 12 of 13. He's made a game winner, hit a game winner in the FCS playoffs last year. The great Adam Vinatieri looks like he's about 5 years old there in the early 90s, doesn't he? Adam, how you feeling about that one tonight, my friend?
He's going to thank us for that. Adam, you can go ahead and send it to us. Former Patriot, there you go, buddy. That's great. He has had, Adam Vinatieri really has had a Hall of Fame career, Roy, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it goes back to that Super Bowl winning kick against Carolina. Just so many big-time plays. This one officially a 37-yarder. Just one miss this season. And his good work will continue to make it a 14-10 ball game. After 5 turnovers, 10 straight points for the Jackrabbits, we got a game. We take a look now at how South Dakota State and James Madison are planning for success, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. The old football adage, my big fast guy will beat your little fast guy, and that's been the case tonight with a pair of 6'5" wide receivers.
Well, they're imposing figures to a smaller defensive back. I'll tell you that for sure. And Riley Stapleton, of course, coming off a career game last week against Weber State, 189 yards and a score. And then tonight, 2 touchdowns already. And just has been a great target for the quarterback, Brian Shore.
Marshall from the 5. Under a minute to play in our first half. There goes Marcus Marshall. And great field position for the JMU offense, as this possession will start after a 38-yard return at the 43-yard line.
Boy, you know, it's fantastic when you put your starting running back to return kicks, and that's what I love about the FCS playoffs, Roy, is just you see such spectacular players. And, you know, JMU has such a rich history of great players. Charles Haley, of course, the Hall of Famer, great play. Gary Clark, the receiver for the Washington Redskins. I mean, they have had some players come through here.
Shore with time. Deep pass caught by Stapleton inside the 30. And big number 10, the gain of 28 yards.
Big number 10 has turned into just a gamesman the last 2 weeks.
Let's call him what he is, a monster. Another deep toss, batted away, a late flag. Backus in coverage. All's the intended receiver.
I didn't think that was a catchable ball. I thought the ball was landed, 6-8 yards out of bounds. I'm not even sure why the flag came out.
Pass interference, number 12 of the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
They don't seem to think the same as myself. All's trying to run a little corner route. He kind of sloughs off. Boy, that's a great defensive play. Actually, the ball was closer, but I'm not sure exactly what they called it. What, the hand on the shoulder?
3 timeouts remaining for JMU. Shore's going to run it up the gut, dives ahead inside the 10. And the Dukes will use one of their timeouts right here.
Timeout.
Houston just
James
signed his new 10-year contract earlier this week.
30-second timeout.
You know, he let us in on a little secret, too, when we talked with him. He said, we agreed in principle to that deal really a couple of weeks ago. And we decided we needed to go ahead and make it public because we've got an early signing period coming up. And a lot of opposing teams were using the fact that maybe Mike Houston could go somewhere else against the Dukes in recruiting. And one of the top coaches in the FCS ranks said, you know what, let's go ahead and announce this now. A 10-year deal, and that way for the early signing period starting on December 20th, for the first time this year, nobody can say anything to our current commitments. Two timeouts left and 22 seconds remaining here in our first half. Sharp in the backfield will flank Shore. Play action, end zone. Batted away, Stapleton was there. No flag this time. Jordan Brown in coverage.
Well, and Roy, credit the JMU AD Jeff Bourne for getting it done with Mike Houston too, because he said, Jeff Bourne, He said winning a national championship is powerful, and you have to ask yourself, are you better off going to a smaller bowl if you're an FBS school or winning an FCS national championship? It's a great question, but if you got the right head coach and you've already won a national title, go out and defend another one.
There goes Trey Sharp, end zone. Did he get there? Stop just short. He'll pick up the first down on third down. Another timeout. Chris Balster with a stop. 13 seconds remaining.
Well, great use of clock management
Timeout,
there.
James Madison, their second 30-second timeout.
And great use of hanging on to timeouts and knowing when to use them, because now you at least get one more shot at the end zone. And Sharp almost had the score. Boy, he got stuffed, though, by, I believe that was Balster, the safety. Balster came over and just put the hammer on him. I thought he was going to get in the end zone.
Now, don't forget, coming up at halftime, highlights of all the FBS bowl games that have taken place thus far. And also the ever-popular conversation, players sitting out of bowl games. Royce Freeman in Oregon apparently not playing today in the Las Vegas Bowl.
First and goal.
First and goal from the one for JMU. Shore straight ahead, gets some help. Touchdown!
Well, they had a little trickeration, and Brian Shore is standing in the shotgun, and he races up to get under center. Again, given South Dakota State a look, they don't run often. He's usually in the shotgun. He runs up under center. They run quarterback sneak, but credit Trey Sharp with the assist, because he just bulldozes his quarterback into the end zone.
He only needed a yard, and Sharp, all 208 pounds of him, was giving some much-needed torque there to Shore, and that was enough. Last weekend's hero, Ethan Rackey, on for the extra point. What a week it's been for the walk-on kicker. Started the season as a backup to Tyler Gray. And Rackey will give JMU its largest lead of the night. 21-10 our score here in the national semifinal in Harrisonburg. Great atmosphere back inside Bridgeforth Stadium. Second national semifinal, the FCS playoffs. James Madison currently in the midst of a 25-game winning streak with an 11-point advantage. Dukes have been outgained tonight, 203 to 202. 5 South Dakota State turnovers really altered what that score could be. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, so great to have you along in a game that's got all kinds of juice. Line drive kick, finally corralled near the 35. Well, if you're South Dakota State, trail by 11, you turn it over 5 times, you've outgained JMU on the road. There's a lot to feel good about, and also a lot to try to correct if you're John Stiegelmeier.
Well, I don't think you could feel that bad. I mean, they did have 5 turnovers in the first half, and JMU only got 7 points off those 5 turnovers. So that was kind of lucky for them. But I think you stick with your game plan. You got to run the ball. The only thing you have to be concerned about, Roy, is if the clock beats you. You really got to pay attention to the second half and watch that clock, and don't let too much time run off.
21-10 our halftime score. Stay tuned for our studio halftime report, brought to you by Axe with Chris Cotter, Jonathan Billman and company, after these messages. Back in Harrisonburg, Virginia, the second of 2 national semifinal contests. JMU at home with an 11-point advantage. Great to have you along. As always, Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. And as we try to catch our breath, a fast-moving first 2 quarters in the books. 6 turnovers between these 2 teams. Otherwise, South Dakota State could be in a much better position.
Well, and 5 turnovers by the Jackrabbits, and their season high in turnovers coming into tonight was only 3 against Northern Iowa. It got started early. Bryce McGinley really jarred the ball carrier, and then on the next series the ball was picked up and they had a short field. JMU was over for a touchdown, took a 7-0 lead, and think about that, Roy, only 7 points off 5 turnovers, which really kept the Jackrabbits in the game. And another great play by Jimmy Moreland. He got the game ball for the first quarter. But then you see the production on offense. Here was the first touchdown to throw to Riley Stapleton, and he has had a great game with 2 touchdowns so far. And let's not forget about Jake Winicky. He might catch fire in the second half, and I think that's what the Jackrabbits have to do. Find ways to get their playmakers the ball.
Brian Shore, the last touchdown of that first half to get us to 21-10. JMU and its 25-game winning streak on the line here tonight at home. The start of our third quarter is coming up. You're watching ESPN College Football. Our FCS Semifinal playoff coverage brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Chilly night in the Commonwealth of Virginia. National Semifinal. The winner tonight advances to play North Dakota State in Frisco, Texas on January 6th. And right now, JMU with an 11-point advantage. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott tied in terms of total yardage, but that number at the bottom on the left-hand side, 5 turnovers, the difference thus far.
Well, and I think the key, though, is at the very bottom where JMU, they only had 7 points off those 5 turnovers. Again, the Jackrabbits surpassing their season high of 3 turnovers against Northern Iowa earlier in the year. And, you know, you got to credit JMU's defense. They're tough as nails, allowing 10 points per game throughout the season. And, you know, think about it. Last week, though, they gave up 28 points to Weber State. So what I liked what South Dakota State did, Roy, they stuck to their plan. They're still running the football. And I think Taryn Christian has to become a runner for them tonight.
Terry will pooch it up. Fair catch made at the 30. As the Dukes will take over there. JMU, of course, the defending national champions. 25 victories in a row. Started this season a resounding, thumping win against East Carolina. 11-0 marking the regular season. These numbers coming with 10 starters lost to injury after the first round bye. A couple of wins, including the comfort behind victory here at home against Weber State last Friday night. Mike Houston celebrating that win, the brand new 10-year contract. He's lost 1 game since being named the head coach here. That coming more than 450 days ago against North Carolina.
And that was on the road.
Please reset the game clock to 15 minutes. Thank you.
So how important is this opening possession for the Jackrabbits defense? Trying to change momentum in this one with JMU starting the second half of the football.
Well, hugely important, and especially if it's a 3 and out, it gives them a ton of momentum.
Marshall driving ahead. Ball popped out. They're going to rule that he was down by contact, and the ball just squirted out after a 5-yard pickup.
Well, I think we know. I think we know what defensive coordinator Clint Brown told his troops at halftime, which is, listen, we got to get the ball back and start ripping at the ball.
Second down, 5.
You know, does the ball come out before he hits the ground? It appears as though Marshall was on the ground, and then the ball came out.
We saw a couple of critical replays in the first 2 quarters. See if they go back to the booth here. Jim Laborde, our replay official tonight. Big Sky officiating crew. Kelly Harmon, our referee.
The previous play of the player being down by rule is under review.
Well, they're going to take a look at it up in the booth. I think that's a good decision, Roy. As you said, there were a couple bang-bang plays in the first half, and this one, Marshall's in the middle of that scrum, and from behind, it looks like, boy, you know, that's really close. Kleinschmidt, 31, was the one ripping at the ball from behind. So watch 31. He's sitting there ripping at it, which is a great play.
Well, you notice that Marshall uses his hand to keep the play alive, and then when his forearm touches the ground, essentially at that point the ball is dead. It's got to be indisputable video evidence. I don't know that we see it there.
Yeah,
After
Semenda.
review, the player was down before the ball came out. The call is confirmed.
Yeah, great effort either way, and probably a good call to keep that just the way they called it, which was no fumble.
Good work by you, my friend, as always. Terrence Halls appears to be okay after suffering a first quarter injury. They'll fake it on the jet sweep, and there goes Marshall. Marcus Marshall off to the races. Towards the end zone. JMU touchdown. That's a 65-yard scoring scamper, and he toasted Chris Balster in the process.
Well, and Marcus Marshall goes over the century mark on that 62-yard touchdown scampered. He had 42 yards before that carry, and he's just so explosive. And when the ball gets in his hands, it's great blocking at the point of attack, at the line of scrimmage, and Marshall there taking it all the way.
Radke's extra point is true. Less than a minute elapsing in our second half, and the Dukes with an 18-point lead just like that.
Well, Roy, you asked me a moment ago how important would it be to get a stop. Well, they didn't get the stop. They gave up just a gash, an explosive play of 62 yards, and Marshall taking it to the house. Huge by the Dukes offense.
Well, Marcus Marshall spent his first 2 seasons in Atlanta with the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Led Tech in rushing both of those seasons, Tom. He played in 22 games and just made the decision, you know, the triple option's been great, but I'm ready to move on. So he goes to his dad's alma mater. Warren Marshall's the all-time leading rusher in school history at JMU, and it's worked out pretty well.
It has worked out well. You know, he's really, I love how he hits the hole in his shoulders. When he gets to the line of scrimmage, it's all north-south. And, you know, that's what equates to great running, not only at the FCS level, the FBS level, but the next level in the NFL as well. The guys that keep the shoulders square and have great technique and form, I mean, and he's explosive with speed, too.
Now the Jackrabbits dug themselves in quite a hole. South Dakota State's won its last 7 games, but meaningless. Got a win here tonight to advance to Frisco. With the crease ahead of the 30 is Marquise Lewis.
Ball taken by number 15, Cade Johnson. Stop made by Wesley McCormick.
Johnson on the return. We'll see what South Dakota State can do. You see 2 interceptions really look large, and after that second pick, Jackrabbits really kept it on the ground, throwing just twice in that second quarter, and ground game was available.
Yeah, it was, and you know, they put up good yards with those runs and passes, and Roy, now the drive and the series for the Jackrabbits becomes imperative to get a long distance drive here and get some points out of it.
7 in the box. Mingarelli straight ahead. A gain of 12. All the way ahead to the 42-yard line. So Brady Mingarelli, the former walk-on, had no scholarship offers out of high school. Outstanding student with a 3.6 GPA in exercise science. Credits his grandfather, who was a coach that got him into football. He's got 58 yards on just 8 touches tonight. Number 44 in white for South Dakota State. Play action. Goddard, All-American tight end, rumbling into plus territory.
Boy, Dallas Goedert, you know, he makes a bad throw even look good because the ball's a little high and away. Dallas Goedert, 6'6", 260, just reaches up, snags it. Really nice hands, soft hands by the big tight end. And, you know, there's a reason why he's on top of every draft board as a tight end. And, you know, he's a long-time NFL player right there. I mean, big body, big frame, fast, and soft hands. They don't come along too often.
Playing tonight with what appears to be a calf injury. That's his 3rd reception for 34 yards. On first down, he'll float it. 86 can't corral it this time.
Yeah, so what do I do? I jinxed him. I'm talking about his soft hands, and then he looks like he has 2 waffle irons trying to catch the ball that time. He's just not able to come down with it. Come on, if I'm talking about soft hands, Goddard, you got to make the play.
2nd down, 10.
Ball was behind him.
Hard to believe, too, Dallas Goedert, a walk-on at 6'5", 260. And now has evolved to be the top tight end prospect, according to Mel Kiper and our Todd McShay as well at ESPN. On 2nd down, Wallace had nowhere to run. Robinson brought him down. He'll lose a yard.
I think what teams like about Dallas Goedert too, Roy, is the fact that he's a leader on the team. He's not just a huge contributor, but he's one of the team leaders and, you know, captain. And those are the guys that really excel. And, you know, the production is just remarkable. You know, a two-time over 1,000 yards receiving. But right now they got to look to get him the ball and Jake Wieneke, because on 3rd down and 11, you got two guys you need to go to. Those are your playmakers.
Shovel pass, broken up. That's not a fumble. It's not a live football. The play worked to perfection in the second quarter. It does not there.
It just didn't come out of Taron Christian's hands well. He tried to just, he ends up flicking it left-handed, and it's almost like, you know, a pitch, but it is a pass, and ruled incomplete there, but it just kind of stuck in his hands, and he just hasn't handled the ball cleanly tonight.
As great as he's been in his career, he's been a little off kilter this evening. First punt of the night for the Jackrabbits. First look at Brady Hale. Floats it beautifully inside the 5. It'll take a Jacks bounce and whistle dead at the 5. 28-10 our score after the 41-yard kick. Well, the winner tonight will match up with North Dakota State. Running back Bruce Anderson, 237 all-purpose yards last night in the Romp Fest over Sam Houston State. And the Bison, every bit as impressive as that score would indicate.
Well, so impressive on the ground, Roy. Bruce Anderson's 5 TDs, 471 rush yards of their total 642. And, you know, Chris Kleeman, they were not out of the finals for long. Just last year, you know, it's something Craig Bowl, the Wyoming coach, he established when he was at North Dakota State. They won 3 FCS championships in a row, 2011, 12, and 13. He's now the head coach at Wyoming, and Chris Kleeman took over. They won it in 2014 and 15 too, so he's a 2-time winner. Of course, James Madison beat them in the semis last year. They did not play in the final, but they've played North Dakota State 7 straight years in the semifinals or finals. Remarkable, remarkable production up there in Fargo.
No question. After a 2-yard gain by Marcus Marshall, Jackrabbits defense needs a stop in the worst way. Side give again, and Marshall tripped up at the 12.
Okay, by Marshall.
By Ryan Arith. So a gain of 5.
Stop made by Arith.
We'll make it 3rd and short.
Well, and here's where you need the big stop, because you can flip the field by getting the stop deep in JMU territory. So just a crucial 3rd and 2 facing the defense of the Jackrabbits.
Out of the gun, on the ground, and there he goes again. Marcus Marshall, plus territory. He will not be caught. There are no flags. Touchdown, JMU.
That's called the backbreaker, my friend. 3rd and 2, deep in minus territory. And Marcus Marshall with a career-long 87-yard jaunt. Boy, great blocking again at the point of contact. Mike Houston just drills it into his team, and especially that offensive line. That can carry them a long way, and tonight Marcus Marshall carrying the ball a long way.
Now the Bridgeport postseason record, 16,600 fans in attendance tonight. And Tom Ramsey, they are on their feet as JMU roars out to the big lead.
The NCAA FCS Football Championship, brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters. And K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
Well, around these parts, JMU players say they're bad to the bone. They say it, they think it, they feel it, they live it. There's the touch of the elbow, and for Marcus Marshall, 165 rush yards in the second half alone, including a career-long 87-yard jaunt just moments ago.
Just a huge run. And, Marcus Marshall, last week he had a 9-yard average. Tonight, 14.5 yard. And, an 87-yarder. I'll tell you what, career high 202 yards tonight. I think he's feeling it. Just keeping up with Bruce Anderson up at North Dakota State.
Well, this one not over just yet, but if this trend continues, certainly a statement being made by the defending champs this evening, given what North Dakota State did to Sam Houston State last night up in Fargo. Radke sends it short. Kay Johnson from his 7. Tripped up short of the 20 and punished for the return.
Boy, James Madison's been good in all 3 phases, but let's go back and take a look at the play. Aaron Stinney, the big left tackle, is going to come and just get a nice seal block, and the linebacker, Roseboom, he just runs with the flow. His key is, okay, listen, he jumped outside, actually. He was there. Roseboom, I missed him. I thought he went with flow. He went to the backside, and Aaron Stinney, though, had the key block on the tackle. And Marshall just seeing it, running right behind the big left tackle. And, boy, he's played well. He's been kind of the lone healthy guy. His dad, of course, a professional basketball player overseas. He wasn't a basketball guy. He really wasn't a football guy till late. Aaron Stinney thought he might be playing basketball, but he wasn't 6'9" like his dad.
Well, for as much as we've talked about Goddard, Winicky, Stapleton, this guy's got some NFL potential as well. Aaron Stinney is a left tackle. He's a guy who's 6'5", 309. You mentioned it as well, something that gets lost in the shuffle. JMU with essentially 4 new starters on the offensive line due to injuries this year. Stinney, the lone guy that has remained healthy. And to put up this kind of production, to remain undefeated, with the target on your back as defending champs, it's not easy to do what they've done. It's been virtually impossible, yet they've done it. Johnson, the banged up player on the return. He was helicoptered around short of the 20.
Yeah, he got roughed up on the return, and, JMU just comes so hard.
D'Angelo Amos got there first.
Yeah, he took a shot. He's up, though. Walking off under his own power. And, just to pay off Aaron Stinney, Mel Kiper, he thinks Stinney could be a later round draft pick. I think Stinney he has that big body type. And what makes great offensive linemen, Roy? It's the feet, right? If you got good feet, you can move. He'll probably project as a guard at the next level, but, he's a guy with, big, powerful hands, low center of gravity. I mean, low man wins, right? That's what I always say at the line of scrimmage.
Christian with time. Winicke's open, and it's incomplete. And that really has been the story for South Dakota State. The plays have been made. They've then turned it over, and then the opportunities that are there, they're not finding that connection.
Well, they've had Winicky a couple times tonight on the deep post, and one time Moreland made a spectacular interception in the first quarter. That time, Winicky had 2 steps on Moreland that time, and Christian knew he missed him right out of the gate.
Just been a touch off for most of the evening for the junior quarterback, Taron Christian. He'll throw it again. Here comes pressure. Down he goes. Ankra. 8.5 sacks now this season, and Christian had nowhere to run.
Well, we can talk about all the All-Americans on the field. I'm surprised we haven't talked about Andrew Ankra. He's just going to come in and beat his man. And here's a guy who, again, is a next-level guy. 2-time All-American and a 3-time first-team All-CAA player. And you got to remember, his first year he made All-Conference. He did it as a linebacker, and then Mike Houston's staff came in and said, hey, listen, we want you to put your hand in the dirt and become a defensive end. He never said a word. He said, coach, whatever it takes. I'll be part of it. Love it.
It's been a struggle on 3rd down tonight. Wallace on the quick screen, close to the first down, will be marked about a yard or two short. And here comes the punt team for the Jacks.
Well, that play by Ankra really becomes the conduit for another JMU stop. And Bob Trott, the defensive coordinator, the Dukes, he has had a game plan dialed up tonight to really put the wraps on this high-powered South Dakota State offense.
Amos get a couple of yards back on the return. Ahead to the 29, make it the 30 after a 43-yard punt. Well, don't forget tonight we'll have the Cherry Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. Easy for me to say. That's coming up Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific, over on ESPN, the ESPN app. It's Lane Kiffin and his record-setting FAU offense against the Zips of Akron with the Mac East Champs.
I like FAU.
Everybody does.
I like what Lane Kiffin has done. Of course, Lane Kiffin, you know, his name got battered about a little bit. Just
well, he kind of put his own name out there, didn't he?
He always puts his name out there for another FBS job, but he's done a great job. Put together a nice year for FAU.
That's a good spot for him as Marshall goes ahead for a 1-yard gain, brought down by Arith. But it still feels like some level of maturity has to occur for Uncle Lane to get a job maybe somewhere else. And in the meantime, maybe that maturity actually happens in South Florida. We'll see.
Yeah, I think the group of 5 teams, you know, with Scott Frost, the success he had at UCF, getting the Nebraska job, Charlie Strong at USF, playing in a bowl game here soon.
Sure. Fires a missile, caught by Eldridge, and tiptoes the sideline all the way down to the 38.
Well, Florida football is good and healthy, that's for sure. You know who else is good and healthy? Brian Shore has made throws tonight. His accuracy has really been the one thing that has stood out to me. Right between the numbers again, 15 to 21 tonight, 178.
Will fake a screen, Shore off the back foot and incomplete. You know, we talked with Donnie Kirkpatrick, the offensive play caller for JMU this week. We said, Donnie, after that first interception on basically his second pass of the game last week against Weber State, did you have to talk to your quarterback about, you know, maybe calming down just a little bit? And he said, no, not really. He was about as sound as you would expect a senior quarterback to be. He's won a national championship, and even with a play like that where he was tricked by Zakil Harry, the talented Weber State corner, really just kind of settled him in that much more, and he goes on to nearly have a career night. He'll toss it again, Eldridge. The nice cut, fumbles it out of bounds after a short gain.
Yeah, the 359, the second most in school history. And, you know, again, you know, last week, the 1 touchdown to Riley Stapleton, and then tonight, 2 touchdowns to Riley Stapleton. He's found his favorite target for sure. And again, Stapleton, you know, on 3rd and 9, he's the kind of guy that you go to, and he's up top. He's at the top of the screen. Keep an eye on big number 10. If he gets man-to-man coverage, they'll go his way.
Drop back in zone coverage. Shore with all kinds of time. Fires it. Caught. First down, Eldridge. Brought down toward the 15. That'll move the chains, and a gain of 22.
Good route running by Eldridge. Again, this is Shore, who's able to get great protection that time, stay in the pocket, be patient with the ball, and then just fires another strike to Eldridge. First down, Dukes.
6 of 8 on 3rd down tonight are the Dukes. South Dakota State has struggled in that category, despite being one of the best teams in FCS this season on 3rd down. Sharp will bounce it outside. Sharp keeps the play alive. It'll be 1st and goal, JMU inside the 5.
Wow, there's a couple Jackrabbits down on the play, and one is Jordan Brown, their good corner.
And Trey Sharp also banged up. It's a nifty run to break it outside the way that he did.
Yeah, Trey Sharp did. He bounced it outside nicely and broke a tackle, broke the tackle of Backus, the outside linebacker, and then there's just a huge pile of players. And It looked like Jordan Brown got hammered by his own player, Nick Farina, number 24. He just takes a shot. Dalton Cox over there too. Boy, everyone is up. Jordan Brown back up though. He wants to stay on the field, but he has to come off for a play.
You see the smile there by Sharp. Emotional roller coaster season, having lost his father to cancer in September. We talked last week after the game-tying two-point conversion was scored by Trey Sharp, who had replaced the injured Marcus Marshall in that final drive. Came into tonight with 719 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. Just a junior out of Carborough, North Carolina is Trey Sharp. Taylor Woods now will check in as the third team running back. JMU perhaps trying to put this one away. Woods, end zone. Touchdown, James Madison. One step closer on the road to Frisco.
Boy, credit that offensive line of JMU. They just stay low. They win at the line of scrimmage, and it's just inside zone to Taylor Woods, and it's good running, good hard running by Woods. Taylor Woods taking it over for the Dukes. The Dukes now rolling. Rolling to break, 42-10.
Coverage is streaming live on the ESPN app. Download now and take ESPN everywhere.
Well, the Dukes of James Madison, 28 unanswered points. They did 42-10. Tom, they've scored touchdowns in their last 5 possessions. And despite all the injuries this season, the winning streak persists as defending national champions. And what a way to go out here in this home field advantage of Bridgeforth Stadium tonight. What appears to be another convincing victory against South Dakota State.
I don't think we ever doubted that James Madison was not going to be fired up and ready for the game tonight. Of course, being a home game, they're the #1 seed. Mike Houston told us yesterday, he said, listen, it's kind of like an additional senior game, right? Where you want to send your seniors out with the best memories, their last time playing on their home field, and they have played spectacularly tonight in all 3 phases.
Mangarelli twists and turns his way across the 25. And the Jacks will take over there. ESPN's coverage of the FCS National Championship game is headed your way January 6th inside of Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas at noon. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. And just 3 weeks away from what could be a sensational matchup between JMU and North Dakota State. Same 2 teams squared off last year in the Fargo Dome, and JMU defeated North Dakota State, ending the 5 consecutive national championship run by the Bison. First down, Christian back in there, play action to Goddard. Wrapped up, crossing the 30 for a short gain. That was Jordan Brown who brought him down.
Yeah, nice open field tackle that time by Jordan Brown on a difficult athlete to bring down. And again, just short throw and catch, and Goddard almost steps out of it, but just unable to along the near sideline. And you know, tell you what, Roy, it sure pays to have the 1 and the 2 seed, right? When you're the top seeds, you have these playoff games at your home field, and I think it's a big advantage.
Brown in motion. Mangarelli straight ahead. That'll move the chains. Jordan Brown again, the stop. Winner of this one will match up with North Dakota State, as we've been talking about. Bison with a convincing win against Wofford. Congratulations to Mike Ayers, head coach of the Terriers, who announced his retirement after that loss. Crushing win last night against Sam Houston State. You see James Madison with 2 wins to get where they are.
And that's, again, the importance of those home games. They know how important the regular season is. And, of course, South Dakota State this year knocking off North Dakota State in Brookings. So it was a home game for the Jackrabbits, and an awfully important game at the time. That's a big game. They play for that Dakota marker. And, man, I tell you what, I watched some highlights today from that game. Happened on November 4th. It was intense.
Sean Robinson records the 5th sack of the night for JMU. And for Christian, he's just a junior. He's going to be back next season in Brookings, South Dakota. This will be a tough out once again, the Jackrabbits will be, but it just hasn't been his night. Been a little off here and there. Otherwise, potentially, this is a different game.
Well, it's just another huge defensive call to bring a corner.
And he lost it again. Ball is loose. Did Mengarelli get on top of it? That's a second time tonight. Taryn Christian has lost control of the football, trying to throw it. And JMU comes up with turnover number 6. Kyrie Hawkins came out of there with it. He stole it from Brady Mengarelli.
On the play is a fumble and
well, the JMU ties their season high 6 turnovers. They had 6 turnovers against William and Mary earlier in the year, and the ball just flipped out of his hands. Again, that's the 3rd time tonight. The ball has just squirted right out of Taryn Christian's hands. And JMU all over the ball. You mentioned Hawkins on top of it, and Hawkins has had yet another great playoff game.
Jet sweep, Woods. And technically it is a pass, but it's got the jet sweep action. We talked to Bob Trott about that. He said, the only 2 people that feel good about that play is the quarterback, the receiver, and the parents of both players. It's more than 2 people, but because it feels like a run. Instead, you just flip it forward. They'll fake that action this time. Shore will be flush. Nice pump fake as he dives ahead inside the 10.
Shore is just really good with the ball, and we see kind of the flip side of not being careful with the ball. Taryn Christian being careful with the ball. Brian Shore. Dalton Cox looking like he's having some cramping issues.
Cox, an academic All-American, has got a 4.0 GPA. Majoring in economics and entrepreneurial studies. Need a little assistance walking off the field. Now appears to be all right.
Well, Brian Shore, number 17 of 24, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's also done a little bit on the ground, 7 yards. Long of 6 and a touchdown from 1 yard out. So he's had himself another nice game.
Jay Obase, the new running back for JMU, number 31 in purple. They'll fake it to him. Shore corralled inside the 10 and hit hard after a short pickup. It'll be short of the first down. It was Kellen Solik. And that'll prompt field goal attempt for the great Ethan Rackey, now a new legend in these parts.
Put him way high on that pedestal after that kick last week, huh?
Backup kicker to start this season, where Tyler Gray went down to an injury back on October 21st. And Rackey's kick between the pipes. as JMU extends its lead now to 35.
Well, that's 10 points off 6 turnovers. So still, I think the Jackrabbits are getting lucky to some degree. That was a good stop by the defense that time. But Radke, as you mentioned, the remarkable thing about his game-winning kick last week, Roy, was he had a kick at the end of the first half that was blocked and almost went for a touchdown, albeit there was a penalty on the play and it didn't allow Weber State to score. But to nail the 46-yarder at the end of regulation to win that game, and there it is right there, the win over Weber State. They carried Radke off the field. Mike Houston couldn't have been happier.
And just 48 hours later, they announced his new 10-year deal, the contract extension that's going to keep him here in Harrisonburg, well, for a very long time. You think about the coaches right now in college football that have 10-year contracts. Mike Houston, Jimbo Fisher. I'm sure Nick Saban's up there somewhere. Not very many others. This game was tied at 7 before JMU has seized control. Angarelli brought down short of the 30. Well, Ethan Radke a week ago kicked the game-winning field goal from 46 yards out, and Mike Houston said, "You know what, kid? You did such a great job. We want you to lead the fight song in the locker room afterwards." That's exactly what he did.
That's great stuff. They've been very generous allowing our cameras in the locker room, but we have gotten some great material.
Looking for Goddard, incomplete. Christian off the mark. 3:01 remaining in our third quarter. That's one of the great sound bites in all of college football this year. I mean, that game was played at such a high level, and you really felt bad that somebody had to lose. It was Weber State. You just mentioned the blocked field goal at the end of the first half. If penalty's not called, tackling the holder, which the player didn't have to do, I'm not so sure the outcome doesn't change. But you know what? To win a championship, to win back-to-back titles, it takes a bounce or two and a lucky break along the way a lot of times. And maybe Clemson's going to find that out one way or another the next couple of weeks. The FBS ranks, James Madison done a nice job creating its own breaks in this magnificent 25-game winning streak.
That's complete to
I
Wallace.
was waiting for you to work in a Clemson reference here. You
Not
got
made
one
by
in,
Bethea.
partner. You got one in. Well, that'll be a good game. Alabama, I'm sure, will put on the film from a year ago and get that one dialed in. What's remarkable, though, in order to beat a champion, Roy, to your point, you got to play your very best. If you want to knock off the defending champion, you have just got to bring everything, and you got to go for it on fourth downs, and you got to make spectacular plays, and you might even have to get lucky a few
Ball
times.
carried by Wallace.
Wallace brought down behind the line of scrimmage.
Tackle made by Landon Word.
So Landon Word with a stop, the Virginia transfer. Time winding down here in our third quarter. North Dakota State is watching this one tonight. My question for you, Tom, would be at what point do you start pulling your starters to make sure that nobody else gets banged up? It's been a mash unit all year long here in Harrisonburg. You got to dial it back at some point, don't you?
I don't, not anytime soon.
Okay.
I think maybe deeper into the fourth quarter, because right now, South Dakota State, the way they can score and as explosive as they are with their players, I mean, they came into this game averaging 39 points a game. I don't think Mike Houston's going to rest for a moment, probably until about 1 minute left in the fourth quarter.
Now the Jacks just 2 of 9 on third down this evening. John Stiegelmeier told us, we're probably going to go for it on fourth down. Depending on what the score is, you got to think here to have any kind of chance to get back in it. Go for it on fourth down. Let's see. Inside give. They'll pick up the first down into JMU territory. Minute 12 left in the third.
Yeah, I've just been really impressed with the defensive plan of JMU tonight. I mean, Bob Trott, he talked about disguising the look of what they were trying to do tonight, and I think they've caused some problems from Taryn Christian just from a looks perspective. What always may look like man-to-man becomes a zone blitz, and they've blitzed corners tonight. Another blitz coming off the slot and just creating another problem.
Christian's going to be picked off. Raven Green, near sideline, number 5, for another JMU touchdown. And that'll set a new James Madison University record, his 14th career interception. Nobody's picked off the opposition more than Raven Green.
Well, we asked Bob Trott who had to have a great game. He said Raven Green. It'd be great if he had a great game. And again, they bring a player off the slot. The look changes, Roy, and then Raven Green just jumps the route, steps in front of the pass, and able to take it to the house for the score.
Now, Green was toasted a couple of times last week by Weber State. Point after is blocked. And so the extra point, no good, but Green was not positioned correctly several times last week and giving up a couple of second half scores. Kellen Solik blocked that extra point. And I asked Bob Trott, said, hey, did you have to get in his ear this week? And he said, you know what, Roy and Tom, not at all. He's a senior. He's in his 5th year. He now has picked off the opposition more than any other player in JMU history, 14 career interceptions. I didn't have to tell him a single thing. And that's one of the reasons why that guy, about as good as you're going to find anywhere in college football in the secondary.
And that resonates, right? When you have a good staff, the players know they're accountable to each other and themselves. And it's a big play by Raven Green for sure. The look, you're going to see Robinson come off and get the blitz, and then here's Raven Green. He kind of sits down in and ends up just fooling Christian again. He ends up jumping the route. Just really not a great throw. And Raven Green, though, boy, he looks like a track guy. Once he has the ball in his hands, he just outruns everyone to the end zone. And that's just, again, schematically, from a defensive strategist point of view, I mean, Bob Trott, he's not playing with mirrors, man. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's causing all kinds of problems for that Jackrabbits offense.
And strangely enough, he was somewhat pleased with the defensive performance last week. He said, you know what, we blew 2 plays. It's the first time all year we've done that. At the same time, he kind of said it with a little bit of a snarl. And I think that he had his group obviously laser focused this week, playing one of the top offenses in the country, and they're a little tired of hearing about what happened.
Yeah, Bob's a little salty. He's got some of the best stories ever, though. He's, of course, Fred Goldsmith, longtime defensive coordinator, head coach, was someone that Bob coached with. And, Bob Trott, he was Bill Parcells' staff back at the Air Force. Think about this. Kenny Hatfield, Ray Hanley, Al Groh, and Bob Trott, all on the same staff. I mean, those are some big, big names in coaching.
Christian back on the field, looking for Goddard, and he's picked off again. When it rains, it pours. That's Jordan Brown, 8 interceptions this season. Simeon Robinson applying the pressure, and that play never had a chance.
Well, they're trying to get the ball to big 86 Dallas Goddard again, and sometimes you just, if you felt like watching at home, he forced the ball. Yeah, he probably did. And as a former quarterback, you probably want to make it happen. You want to will that ball in, but it just hangs in the air too long. And Jordan Brown, being a great free safety and ball hawk, comes away with another interception.
Jay Obase, the running back. New quarterback for JMU is Cole Johnson. Number 12 in purple, a sophomore from Virginia Beach and Cox High School. Meanwhile, Taryn Christian has thrown a career-high 4 interceptions tonight, and they've all been costly, as you would expect in a game of this magnitude.
Well, and there's the answer to your earlier question. You can give some of your backups a little time into the fourth quarter, the last play of the third quarter. How's that?
What a performance tonight by the defending champs, James Madison. 51-10, and just 15 minutes separate the Dukes from another trip to Frisco to play North Dakota State in the national championship. Final 15 minutes back in Harrisonburg, VA, and a 30-0 outburst by JMU in that third quarter will prove to be too much to overcome for South Dakota State. Nowhere to run on second and long. And Shea Obase brought down for a loss of a couple. And a great turnout. JMU postseason record with over 16,600 fans in attendance tonight. Tell you what, Tom, they've been loud from the opening kick.
I was going to say 25 straight wins. You train your fans well, right? I mean, they get into the mode of, they come into the stadium a little bit late for me. They like the tailgating.
Cole Johnson's going to be picked off. And one of the few mistakes tonight, and with the interception, is Christian Rosaboom. And he keeps the play alive. Rosaboom towards the end zone and shoved out just short of the pylon. Now, first interception of the season for Cole Johnson, the sophomore out of Virginia Beach, and Rosaboom will take it back 65 yards in the process.
And Philpott, you probably knew this. Rosaboom was also a fullback running back at Sioux Center High School in Sioux Center, Iowa, because once he catches the ball, he knows exactly what to do. He's looking for blockers. He ends up transferring the ball to his left arm. He ends up securing it as well, and he's trying to outrun guys to the pylon, and that's a great play by Christian Rosaboom. I mean, he's had a spectacular year. He's really been the heart and soul of that defense.
Winneke, top of your screen. Christian will look the other way to Goddard, who hauls it in the back corner. And that's one of the reasons so many NFL scouts love Dallas Goedert. The body control, the soft hands, all on display there.
Well, and there's the importance of getting the turnover by that player there, Rosaboom, and they convert it to points immediately, going up to Goddard. And just a great throw that time. Great catch, beating Terrace Carroll. We'll go for two here. And I'm sure we'll see an onside kick when they decide to kick off as well.
Goddard with the banged up leg injury and all. Main's in there, and Christian's pass sails high on the two-point play. Well, Dallas Goedert, his 21st touchdown reception in his incredible South Dakota State career. This guy's got a long future, the next level ahead of him. ESPN College Football and our FCS Semifinal playoff coverage is presented by Northwestern Mutual. Score will tell you the story despite the last touchdown score by South Dakota State. A crushing win for James Madison, the #1 seed and defending national champions. Lead at 51-16, and for Taryn Christian, just a junior out of Sioux Falls. He's got a bright future ahead of him for sure next year. It has not been his night this evening, however, here in Harrisonburg.
No, tough night. 13-29, 135, one interception, but three costly fumbles just popping out of his hands.
And on the onside kick, it floats down to the 40. Don't forget, coming up Tuesday, we'll have the Cheribundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific over on ESPN and also the ESPN app. Head coach Lane Kiffin will showcase his record-setting FAU offense against the Akron Zips, winners of the MAC East. Game headed your way on Tuesday.
Cheribundi Tart Cherry just rolled right off your tongue.
Well, the second go-around after I was heckled in the last commentary, I knew I needed the zoom focus. And from the 40, Taylor Woods as JMU takes over. Cole Johnson remains the JMU quarterback. Figures to enter the mix next season after Brian Shore will move on. And I'll tell you, Shore, he's not one of those guys that really blew you away in terms of arm strength or his height. He's about 6'2", 211 pounds. But Donnie Kirkpatrick has said it multiple times to us the last 2 weeks, as has his head coach Mike Houston. He's a winner. All he does is win. He does what we ask him to do, and usually he does it without anything to say or really any miscue, straight ahead for a short gain. Tonight, 18 completions for over 200 yards and 2 touchdown passes. And
tackle made by Backus.
The numbers don't blow you away, but the wins do.
Well, I'll tell you what blows me away. He's been a model of consistency, and he became the JMU career leader, not only in career touchdown passes. He had 60 coming into tonight's game. He had 2 tonight. But passing yards, total offense, and he came into tonight's game averaging 243 yards a game on average. And he also has a career leader with pass completions as well.
See the numbers. Yeah, I mean, that's,
yeah, it's remarkable. And, you know, he's not flashy, right, Roy? I mean, we've seen him now. We've watched him warm up. We've seen him spin the ball around. He was highly accurate tonight, and even last week when he put the ball on the mark. And it equates to, you know, being good on third down, and he's a smart player, and he's a great leader, and guys follow him.
Harry O'Kelly send a wobbler in the direction of Marquise Lewis, and a perfect bounce out of bounds. Jacks will take over, trailing big.
The NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual. Northwestern Mutual, we help you live life differently. And in part by Degree Deodorant, it won't let you down.
Well, a big night for the Dukes on the gridiron, and a couple of lucky students also very fortunate to win a pair of scholarships. Part of the incentives James Madison has put out there to the student population to keep them home here in Harrisonburg after graduation earlier this morning. And a lucky student there gaining a scholarship. That's a heck of a weekend right there. You got the end of the semester, finals are in the rear view mirror now, and then on top of that, your team is going to advance to the championship, and you just won a scholarship.
They pull out all the tricks in the book. The marketing department did very well. You know, they wanted to keep students and parents around to watch the game tonight, and what better way to cap it off than to get a little scholarship help.
Dukes are going to extend their winning streak to 26 games after this win tonight. Marquise Lewis, a nice catch, running full speed against Justin Bethea. And that'll keep the drive alive after a gain of 30. Credit South Dakota State. Playing for pride essentially at this juncture. Scored a touchdown moments ago. We'll try to add another one here. Christian tonight, 2 touchdown tosses, 4 picks. He'll rifle this one incomplete, and nearly picked off again by Moreland.
Yeah, his numbers tonight, Roy, he struggled mightily with just handling the ball, right? He's had the 3 fumbles that popped out of his hands, and then 16-32, $164, 2 touchdowns, but he's had the 4 costly interceptions, and that really has been the storyline tonight for the Jackrabbits. And you know, you got to credit. Yeah, he's an experienced quarterback, but he's still young in the sense that he hadn't seen a defense like this, and he's gotten a lot of disguised looks tonight, and he's played against a tenacious front 4.
Christian floats it out of bounds, looking for Winicky. Did you ever have a game like this? You're in the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame. You played at UCLA. You played in the NFL for all those years. I mean, it happens, doesn't it?
I had a game at Kinnick Stadium at Iowa one time. I think I'd rather not talk about it, but I'll just tell you this. Bob Stoops got an interception from me, and Andre Tippett about put me in the hospital. So Iowa's defense was resoundingly good that day, and I'd rather forget about it.
On third down, a missile ahead to Alex Wilde, who corrals it in plus territory for a gain of 14.
Yeah, I had an Oklahoma game last year, and I said, "Hey Bob," I said, "you never thanked me for that interception." He said, "Wait, did I get the interception?" I said, "Come on now." He said, "Yeah, I remember."
Here's Christian again. Pass nearly picked off, and Goddard did his best impersonation of a defensive back against Jordan Brown.
Yeah, those games, though, you have to have short memory, right? You got to be, you got to forget about it. But, Roy, a game like this for Taron Christian, he'll become a better football player as a result, because he will have played a #1 seed at their place. He will still have a lot of weapons around him, because the system they have in place at South Dakota is awfully good in Brookings. And the continuity of the coaching staff has been there for quite some time. They get the right athletes there.
16-yard pickup will move the chains yet again. Jackrabbits playing one of the toughest conferences in all of the FCS, the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Dukes will find out more about that brand of ball coming up January 6th down in Frisco. Of course, James Madison familiar with North Dakota State going back to last year and previous seasons.
Boy, and that will be a heck of a game. The familiarity between both teams, the Missouri Valley Conference. I'll tell you what I would want to see is North Dakota State's offensive line coming at me, because there's some big fellas now up front. Bruce Anderson had some massive holes to run behind last night in the win over Sam Houston State, but that's where games are won and lost, right? You got to have the kids up front.
Christian across the middle, passes high, and it's picked off. 5th interception of the night. Jordan Brown, his 2nd of the ball game as well. And any thoughts or hopes of some kind of miracle comeback will be ended with another turnover.
Well, the All-American Jordan Brown making yet another play from center field, and that ball just, again, getting away. They kind of got a little bracket coverage that time on Jake Winicky, and again, Bob Trott, the defensive coordinator, designed that one up. He said, we might not single cover him, we may do bracket. Again, taking a look at Trott, another day at the office. I guess I did have a pretty good game plan tonight. My buddies will be calling me. The announcers got my name right. I mean, golly, Ramsey and Philpott, those guys, I'd like to see them again.
Inside handoff. Well, one of the first things that we noticed almost more than 2 weeks ago when we got the first assignment between JMU and Weber State, the back end of the JMU defense, the cornerbacks are filthy. They get their hands all over the football. They're able to provide blanket coverage. That makes the front four even more devastating. And we've talked a lot about the NFL talent for South Dakota State on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, back end, front four, there's plenty of it at JMU as well. And it may have a different feel against the Bison with two teams that can just smash you with all 4 of their units, really.
That's a great point. The defensive backs, and we talked about it last week when they played Weber State, there's just such tight windows to throw into, because they don't get out of position and they stay with receivers. And then game planning, the 9 forced turnovers today, obviously that's a high for the James Madison defense. High for most, 7-4. Man.
Ball game.
Yeah,
that's correct.
I'd say that's a ball game. Jimmy Moreland got a game ball in the first quarter. I got to tell him that a little later, maybe. We'll get him something down there. But, Roy, they just don't allow teams to run past them. And so schematically, when you're that close to an offensive receiver, when there's tight windows like that, it just makes it doubly hard to throw the ball.
All smiles on the JMU sideline. This will be victory number 26 in a row as the Jacks force a punt. And for Mike Houston, this is a guy that's only lost 1 game since taking over this program. That was more than 450 days ago. That coming against an ACC foe at North Carolina. The first time we saw him About 10 days ago, he was smiling. We saw him yesterday. He was smiling even bigger. And I asked Coach, I was like, hey, I need a low-interest loan. Can you help a brother out after that 10-year deal was signed? And he was laughing even louder after we posed that question to him. Nice return near side. Jacks will have favorable field position when we come back. And for Mike Houston, just signed the 10-year deal. Got a chance to go back-to-back in Frisco next month. Now the championship game coming up in about 3 weeks, and statements are being made here in these last 24 hours. The Bison dominant last night against Sam Houston State, and JMU forcing 9 turnovers tonight, equally as impressive.
Now let's be sure the sample size, JMU still has 8:23 left on the clock, but in terms of total rush yards, I don't know if that's like for like, but I got to tell you, when you have that many rush yards, it's impressive, but forced turnovers, when you put 9 on your opponent, you're going to win every game.
Here comes Darius Carter, and nearly got to Taryn Christian, who appears to be shaken up near the 45. Yeah, let's do it. It's going to be fun.
You know what it is, Roy? It's like Ali Frazier. I mean, it's two heavyweights, because these two teams that I've seen in James Madison and North Dakota State, and even South Dakota State, they can beat some FBS teams now.
When they have.
Oh yeah, no, they've
yeah.
gotten after people, and I guarantee you, they don't. If you're an FBS team, you're not scheduling. You're not running to go schedule James Madison. You're not running to schedule North Dakota State. And by the way, if you are, let us know. I'd love to come watch.
Pass caught on the quick slant. That'll be a first down as Marquise Lewis picks up 15. Approaching the 8-minute mark.
First down, 10.
And just 8 minutes remaining in South Dakota State's season. What a season it has been for the Jacks. Lewis on the fade hauls it in. And check that. That'll be Winneke with a grab brought down by Taurus Carroll. Winneke's been targeted often tonight. Gain of 26. It'll be first and goal. Jackrabbits rather, have won a school record 11 games this year, Tom. This is their first time in the semifinal round, so progress has been made under John Stiegelmeier, and he'll be the first to tell you. As an alum of South Dakota State, I think this season meant even more to him. His 6th straight playoff appearance. Try to punch it across the goal line here. Christian surveying all kinds of time and lobs it out of bounds.
He threw it in Winneke's direction, just over his head. Winneke now with 7 catches, 105 yards, and an early touchdown. He's had 14 targets come his way, so they have looked at him quite a bit. Dallas Goddard got 13 targets. It's just that Taryn Christian was harassed by the scheme. They've brought blitz quite a bit tonight, and Bob Trott once again, see if he brings pressure.
Christian rifles a shot into the end zone, and it was picked off. Jimmy Moreland, his 3rd interception tonight. Moreland with 3, Brown with 2.
And I'm guessing Mike Houston, the head coach at James Madison, might have Jimmy Moreland singing the fight song tonight for James Madison.
The party's already started in Harrisonburg, VA. 51-16 our score. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott halfway through the 4th quarter. Chilly night, but don't tell that to the student population here. They are ready to roll after this crushing win against South Dakota State. If you're just tuning in, the turnovers have been the story. There have been more turnovers in this game than any contest in FCS history. 12 between the two schools, including 10 forced by JMU.
Well, and Jimmy Moreland JMU's cornerback with 3 interceptions. That one right there in the first quarter was just a huge play on a deep ball. And, of course, the 3 fumbles that the ball just kind of bounced out of the hands of Taryn Christian 3 different times, and all 3 times lost the ball. That was a difficult and really seemingly too difficult for them to overcome.
And if you're the Dukes, you're just trying to get out of here staying as healthy as you possibly can for facing North Dakota State.
Ovesay on the carry.
The national championship game will be held in Frisco, Texas, of course. If you're watching still, you obviously know that on January 6th. The game will kick off at noon Eastern over on ESPN2. And Dukes will try to go back-to-back. And they'll do it against a team that won the previous 5 national titles in North Dakota State. And hey, James Madison won in the Fargo Dome last year. No easy task by any stretch. Bison have revenge on their mind for that one.
It's been good football. ESPN's had a nice relationship with the FCS. And I love a true national champion, Roy, when, there's not committees and there's not Sagarin ratings, everyone trying to jockey. What there's conference champions, and then there's the at-large teams that get invited because typically they're either a co-champion or a number 2 in a league, and then they get seeded, which makes all the sense to me in the world. And if you're a high seed, you get the home field advantage because you've done well in the regular season, and you get to host the quarters and the semis. And then I like that they play the national championship on a neutral site, and I think it's fantastic.
Amazing. The common
Great
sense
concept.
approach
Great concept.
tends to work, right? Yeah, I agree. Marquise Lewis will dance out of the way, and just like everything else in the last 3 quarters, will go in JMU's favor. 71-yard punt for Harry O'Kelly.
Well, and I think the guy who was really the game changer tonight, we haven't talked about him in almost a quarter and a half, but Marcus Marshall, in the 3rd quarter, he took what was a close game and broke it wide open. He had a 65-yard run for a touchdown, followed by an 87-yard career-high run. And after the 87-yarder, you kind of got the feel like, wow, you know what? JMU's offensive line they've overcome all the injuries. They're knocking people around, and Marshall was able to really take advantage of it and carry the load for the JMU offense.
Dalton Douglas, the new South Dakota State quarterback, senior out of Redlands, California. Carried by Wallace will pick up a few. But all a moot point at this juncture, and it has been all JMU. And the win streak, as the pass is incomplete, intended for Brown, will reach 26 in a row. Marshall over 200 yards, 2 big runs in the 3rd.
Boy, and he followed the left tackle, Aaron Stinney, on both. Stinney had the kick-out block on the 65-yarder, and then he had the nice seal block on the backside on that particular run, which was the longest of his career, 87 yards. And, a running back's always going to credit the offensive line. Aaron Stinney's had a great game, number 70. He gets a blow, and Marcus Marshall really doing it tonight for the Dukes.
All right, so I'm going to put you on the hot seat for a minute.
Yeah.
False start on Edward Miller will back him up 5 yards.
False start, number 54 of the offense. 5-yard penalty.
We'll press the fast forward button. 3 weeks from now, Frisco, Texas, North Dakota State, James Madison. Early thoughts before I ask for a prediction from you.
Early thoughts.
Early thoughts.
I'll be watching the game.
I will as well.
Because it'll be a great ball game, and 2 high-scoring teams, very dynamic in all 3 phases, and very well coached.
Now, which team is better?
Well, neutral site. If I'm going to say this. If James Madison gets a couple players back, and, they played without Curtis Oliver, their nickel back, who is also just a super player, and then John Miller, their great wideout, he's had a high ankle sprain. If he comes back, Roy, John Miller comes back, I'm going to say JMU.
And you can hear the roar echoing right now out of Fargo, North Dakota.
I got to face Craig Bowl next week up in Boise. We have the Potato Bowl with Wyoming. You know he's going to give me grief on that one.
Yeah, it was just a year ago where North Dakota State's 5 consecutive national championships. That streak came to an end. Brian Shore on the road inside the Fargo Dome. More than enough in a 10-point win. And Mike Houston, all smiles, eliminating the Bison. No more national championships, at least for a year. 27-17 final score. And the Dukes won 2 championships in their history. They will go for number 3 and in back-to-back fashion in 3 weeks. It's going to be a game. And I think, you know, you hear so many people talk about how the game of football is won in the trenches, and it is. It's cliche, but it is. The defense for JMU against that North Dakota State offensive front, Bruce Anderson, it's going to be so much fun to watch, but you wonder if the Bison defense can maybe take advantage of the JMU offensive line. We thought maybe that would be an issue tonight. It has not been. And again, health plays a factor in all this as well. Both teams will get some players back.
Well, in JMU, they played tonight without Jaheed Jackson, their right tackle, and you know, that was a big loss from a week ago.
Sure.
Jackson got hurt. So, you know, and I'm sure the Bison are nicked up a little bit too, but I'd like to see both teams come healthy, you know, and come into Frisco, play their best football they've played all year long, and it will be entertaining, to say the least.
Johnson on play action. Flings it near side, passes ruled incomplete. Eldridge was the target, or Bannock got back there.
Let me flip the table. Who would you pick, Mr. Soothsayer, on North Dakota State versus JMU? A couple weeks from now.
You know, I would lean. We got to get out of here later, so I got to be careful. But I would lean towards the Bison. Just last year, the pedigree, the record of all the championships, losing at home, and they're just white hot right now. JMU is as well, but a slight edge to North Dakota State. And maybe I've lost my mind here towards Christmas. I don't know, but a slight edge towards the Bison.
No, I think it's fair. I think, you know, again, a program is defined by your success, right, on the field. And, you know, it's you look at what these head coaches have done. Mike Houston here at JMU and Chris Kleeman up at North Dakota State, and it's impressive. And I wouldn't, like I said, I can't wait to watch. Wish we were working.
Certainly have negated our projections there as the punt take a left-hand turn out of bounds. Don't forget tonight on SportsCenter, 11:30 Eastern, a deep dive into the AFC playoff picture. The impact of the Chiefs and Chargers Saturday night showdown on the postseason. Also, let's hear from Carmelo as he returns to the Big Apple. And the best of the best, the top 10 plays from college football this season. All ahead on SportsCenter, 10:30 Eastern on ESPN, the ESPN app. Now, bowl season is underway at the FBS level. Fun time of year if you are a college football junkie like we are. And first down toss is incomplete. We've had a lot of fun calling these playoff games this year. Shout out to our crew as well, our producer Greg Pike. Jimmy Lee Starling directed us for our first game here at JMU. Tim Sutton tonight, and Ryan Gearhart as well in graphics. It's been a lot of fun. Surviving advanced football is magnificent, honestly. It's a lot of fun.
Big Bruce Mann, AD, and too. He was able to spend a couple extra days. And he got some Christmas. He got a little Christmas shopping done.
And Bruce Dunn has been tremendous for us on this crew as well.
I wonder if Bruce shopped for us too.
Second down pass is incomplete. Well, for Jake Winicky, number 19 in white, he's going to play in one more game, the East-West Shrine game, and he'll get a chance to showcase his skills. The 6'4", 215-pounder, pride of Maple Grove, Minnesota. And what a career it has been. And Tom, he's going to play on Sundays, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. I mean, big body, 6'4", 215, and a guy who really, Roy, we didn't see a lot of it tonight, but he has the ability to run after catch. He has a little of that Jordy Nelson in him where you know, once he catches the ball, he's dangerous, and he broke away tonight. He broke a tackle tonight, and
Number 68 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
Rashad Robinson had to come across the field to get him down. Otherwise, he would have taken that one to the house. But I think he gives teams, NFL teams, something to really kind of look at and go, wow, you know, do we want a guy who's reliable, high character guy that you mentioned, because it does matter. And, you know, hey, everyone needs to work on their 40 time, right?
No doubt. 3rd and long. Douglas flushed. And he'll sidearm it ahead to Lewis, short of the first down. Now, South Dakota State made the 1,012-mile journey from Brookings, South Dakota, all the way here to the heart of the Colonial Athletic Association, and will come up empty. School record 11 wins for the Jacks. And the celebration set to ensue for James Madison. Folks here at JMU have been wonderful to us these last couple of weeks as well. Sports information, Christopher Brooks and this coaching staff have welcomed us with open arms, and we appreciate that as well.
I got a great story on Chris Brooks. When I was talking to Bob Trott before the game, he said, you know, I've trained him well. I got a little bit more to go. But he gets me information a week ahead of time. And I just started laughing. I said, no, Chris is good. He said, yeah, I've been working on him, Tom.
Less than 2 to go, and JMU content to try to run the clock out. And the Powerade bath set to get underway here as well.
JMU in victory formation, able to take a few knees.
Oh, they got 2 buckets.
Brian, in case they miss him with the first.
Yeah, the double dose. Jordan Brown, Raven Green. Pair of senior defensive backs. There was one toss. And one more coming. And the JMU fans going to Frisco. One more kneel down should just about do it.
Ball kept by Etheridge.
And they're going to get Bob Trott next. There it is.
Third down, 13.
And all the hard work going all the way back to July. They begin to game plan for the upcoming season. It'll pay off. Another trip to the national championship game and a chance to repeat. Donnie Kirkpatrick.
Getting all the coaches.
Another victim.
Got to run out of buckets eventually, don't you?
That's going to do it. Time winding down. The celebration starts on the field. And the Dukes will make it 26 wins in a row. And for Mike Houston, a chance to go back-to-back. It'll be the Dukes of James Madison and North Dakota State in Frisco, Texas, 3 weeks from now in the FCS National Championship game. And what a game it'll be.
Well, you gotta like the brackets. James Madison, North Dakota State, the top 2 seeds in the FCS go the distance, and they get to meet again.
Jacks won a school record 11 games. It was not enough tonight on the road against the number 1 seed James Madison Dukes. 26 consecutive wins. And our final score tonight, 51-16. After forcing 10 turnovers, the Dukes punch their ticket. Coming up next, ESPN Films presents Morningside 5. For Tom Ramsey, I'm Roy Philpott saying good night from Harrisonburg, Virginia, where the Dukes are the big winners once again.